action for today's matches.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of action, we've got quite a lot in store for us today. This is the quarterfinals. We've had 5 days of intense, group stage matches, and now we're finally here. We're about to see which team is going to come out on top, which
Oh
team is
yeah.
going to raise the first University Alliance Cup Wild Rift Trophy. And today is really that first big step, as we've got
Oh yes.
two exciting matches in store today.
Correct, Neep. We have gotten this far. So from all the group stages, this is the points, and this is the arena that you can put your team to the higher level of points. So this is the playoffs. This is the make or break game. In the quarterfinals, this is your chance to do some additional things that you can show for the additional waves, especially in the finals and the semifinals. So this is the battle of TUP Manila Gearhawks and UST Teletigers for today, Neep. And most of these squads have been very interesting in making their points grow during the group stages.
Yeah, I mean, all of these teams, they've had interesting stories, Like if we take a look
Mm-hmm.
at the matches today, USD Teletigers, they had a day where they went
Mm-hmm.
0-2. And that was also
Yeah. Oh yeah.
true for TUP Gearhawks. It's crazy how both of these two teams that we're about to see today, they
Mm-hmm.
they were in a position where they had a week where they just went 0-2, no luck whatsoever.
Oh
But
yeah.
this time around, they still managed to fight their way to the playoffs, and here they are today. It's going to be really exciting to see how these teams match up because, this is kind of like a history repeats itself sort of moment. There was a
Mm-hmm.
period in time, in the Valorant actually, where the
Oh yeah.
TUP Gearhawks and Teletigers were fighting for that very last playoff spot. So this is
Oh
pretty reminiscent
right.
of that. Yeah, it's quite reminiscent of that, and I'm sure there's a lot of rivalry going on between these two organizations and schools.
Oh yes, and what makes it so interesting is because they have this way of having the edge on who's the best campus squad. So from Valorant to this, so most of these squads have been very competitive, and League of Legends Wild Rift has been one of the rising games for this year, and this has been one of the most interesting matches because in the first day of the group stages, Teletigers had a bad start. So once they had the grip on the next weeks and so, they have full potential in raising their points high, and this time they're gonna go up with their one of their awesome contenders, and which is the TUP Gearhawks.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really hard to put my finger on who was the better team. Like
Mm-hmm.
we did see some pretty crazy plays coming in from both sides. We saw Timo
Oh yeah.
coming in from UP Gearhawks, which does
Oh
show
wow.
just how
Mm-hmm.
prepared they are. How confident they are in how they've been
Mm-hmm.
playing the game. And let's see if we're gonna see that same level of confidence coming into these best of 5 series today.
Yes,
As
this is a long day, right?
It's gonna be a pretty long day, lots of action in store for everyone.
Oh yes, Gearhawks and Teletigers once again in the arena. Just to give you a brief description of what happened last week. So the last time TUP and UST met in the UAC, they have all these had this technicalities and they had an advance to playoff. So after defeating UST with a close match, as you've mentioned, Neep, they always get into the situation they're in on a tight spot, which makes the game awesome throughout the whole story of how these two became rivalries. And what makes it so unique is up until this game, they're still rising their way of right. They're still rising their ways on getting to the top on raising the campus torch because there's a lot of ways to be in store, especially for their squad surprises, the rotation, the metas. Not to mention now we have a new patch in League of Legends Wild Rift.
Yeah, so we're on patch, I believe it's 2.3, and there's
Mm-hmm.
been quite a lot of changes so far in 2.3. We did see
Mm-hmm.
some tweaks to Kali, something that's kind of been terrorizing the Wild Rift meta. I guess another thing is we've also been seeing, Phase Rush is now in the game, so champions such as Gragas, Darius,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
even certain champs like Oriana, they have a pretty nice Keystone Mask rune that they can use to
Mm-hmm.
really maximize their efficiency and just have
Mm-hmm.
that extra mobility needed to do things around the map. And it's going to be interesting to see how these teams adapt. It's only been around 3 or 4 days since the patch came out, so there's not
Mm-hmm.
really much time to adjust and make changes.
Oh yeah. And since we have new runes just came in on the patch, there's a lot of tweaks and a lot of game changing moves that they can also use. So we can talk about further later. But now I'm interested on what our the campus squads have been going through. I mean, their preparations and stuff. And let's get ahead of their interview with the ROG interrogation right here on the ROG UAC.
And like
University Alliance Cup.
Really passionate about this game, everything, it's perfect.
By doing our best, hindi namin nahayaan mapunta sa wala yung mga paghahanda at pag-i-ensayo namin sa araw-araw ng mga scrims.
Ever since na-form yung team namin, madalas na kami nagpa-practice, ganun, through rank games and scrims. And abangan nyo na lang sa games namin kung gano'n namin kagusto makuha yung championship.
Wow. Will you look at that, Neep? There a lot of preparation has been going, especially now we're in the stage that a make or break game for a complete best of 5, and this is the place for no errors, but they have a chance to make their way. If they go through the lower bracket, they need to secure some slots with if even the points is on their side, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they've been practicing a lot. I'm sure they had that wake up call at the very start of the split, as we mentioned. Both of these teams, they went
Mm-hmm.
0-2 very in one of those earlier weeks. I think it was week 1 and week 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that practice they've been putting it in, and now it's really
Mm-hmm.
just a chance to show that practice, show what they've paid off,
Oh yeah.
and I'm looking forward to that best of 5 series and how things go.
Oh yes, and especially now there are a lot of current patch changes in the patch 2.3. So there are a lot of buffed and nerfed champions as of League of Wild Rift has been going. So you have Blitzcrank, you have Kennen, you have Kha'Zix Pantheon, Rakan Renekton, and Twisted Fate. Not to mention we have new champions just arrived in the Rift, Irelia, and as well as Riven. One of the classics in League of Legends Wild Rift.
Yeah, and speaking of new champions, it looks like we're gonna head on to that draft phase. So let's
Oh
see
yeah.
those changes.
Mhm.
Renekton is a really strong champion, I think, in this
Oh
patch,
yes.
and we
Mm-hmm.
have been seeing a lot of Twisted Faith in that pro level competition. So
Mm-hmm.
there are a few options here. There is quite a lot of stuff open. Diana is still on the table. We do take a look at Camille is still on the table, so I wouldn't be surprised if Camille or Diana get taken up as this first pick for the
Mm-hmm.
side of the TUP Gearhawks. 0 seconds left on that timer, and it's going to be the Ziggs instead. So opting to go for more of that
Mm.
consistent mage, that strong poke. Ziggs did
Oh
get nerfed.
yes.
The structure damage was reduced from 200% to 150%, so he's not going to be one-shotting turrets as frequently, but
Mm-hmm.
he's still a very viable and strong contender here.
Oh yes, I believe he's one of the best champion picks if you want to put it in a late game situation. Ziggs. But right now in the situation that he is nerfed, you have mentioned there's a changes in damage, but they're trying to prioritize Ziggs because he has the potential for also to have an escape, or a sidestep movement from his satchel charge. So a lot of these priority picks is which is on point with Messick taking Ziggs, and as well as Kaiser taking Wukong as well, and Chaos having that burst again with Fiora.
Yeah, okay, so it looks like they went for that comfort pick in the Wukong. Chaos has been
Mm-hmm.
playing quite a lot of Wukong over the
Mm-hmm.
group stage period of the University Alliance Cup Season 2.
Yeah.
And so it looks like they're just securing that comfort pick there. Meanwhile, on the side of TUP, they went for the
Mm-hmm.
Janna to kind of help disengage the Wukong, and they
Oh
also went for the
yes.
Camille that was still open. So the Camille can go head to head against this Fiora in that 1v1 pretty well. It's very much so a skill matchup, and at the same time, you can also opt to flex this in the jungle role and still have that threat and that long range initiate.
I love it. Janna to counter Wukong. It's a bit of a disruptive disengaged set, but these Bitter End and and Kaiser will be the best guys to have that contestant. If ever there's a lot of way of stealing the dragons, disrupting some team fights, but now you're seeing Aesthetic taking Darius for this one, and also Yushiro and for Varus. So Camille, she's nerfed, right?
Yeah, so Camille did not get touched this patch, no. So she's still as strong as she ever was before.
Mm-hmm.
And something I immediately noticed off the top of the bat, right off the bat,
Mm-hmm.
is this draft that TUP Gearhawks has. is very reminiscent of what we saw from Team Secret in PPGL the other
Oh
day.
yes. Oh
So it
yes.
looks like TUP Gearhawks a bit inspired for this matchup. They've got the Varus, they've got the Ziggs, they have the Darius. The only thing that they're kind of missing is that Sona support instead of the
Mm-hmm.
Janna. But it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to execute it to the same level as the pros.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, on the side of UST, they've also got a very solid draft pan. They understand what they want to do. They have the Fiora to maintain that 1-4 split push presence, while at the same
Okay.
time, they've got the Twisted Faith who can apply that pressure and possibly go for those 2v1 unfavorable matchups and kind of snowball the game in that sort of advantage. And it looks like we're going to be straight onto the Rift.
Yes, we're going back once again in our playoffs in the quarterfinals, and this is the battle of TUPM Gearhawks and UST Teletigers. For all of you fans and groups out there supporting these squads, go ahead, get noisy in the chat because this game is brought to you by the reigning king of gaming smartphones, the ROG Phone 5, and of course, take it with a sweet 888 144Hz AMOLED display with the Qualcomm Snapdragon. Take it on a spin. And also, this is to take your gaming experience to the next level with a hashtag for those who dare. Available in your nearest ASUS ROG accredited stores nationwide, so hop onto rog.acadarena.com to check it out.
Yeah, and we're already 1 minute into the game, so the Scuttle Crab is about to spawn in roughly 25 seconds. We do see that both of these junglers have opted for a pretty standard clear. Skippy Gearhawks going in for that mid lane push, but it looks like Lazuli does need to be careful. We'll have that fruit to pick up. And I think that's a pretty good trade, That does set up a bit of pressure for you to really take the Scuttle Crab that's about to spawn in the next second.
Oh yes, as they try to settle some objectives early on, our fight continues with TUP and UST. As Neat mentioned, the trade is happening. They need to maintain vision. As TUPM is trying to do this, the fight for the scuttle begins to heat up. But Shotty takes in for the vision, but no chance for trading those autos in. But rather than, they are trying to see some more possibilities of taking this further later on.
Right, so it looks like it was a trade in Scuttle Crab. Both junglers got one each, so there isn't really going to be a substantial advantage just yet, 2 minutes into the game. Taking a look at the gold, it is very even as well. None of the players have really created a sizable lead yet for themselves in terms of the 1v1 matchup. Something I am interested in looking at is this matchup between the Darius and the Fiora, because this does have like an opportunity to go anyone's way, and when it does start to favor one side and one player, that's when it can really start to snowball and can be very dangerous for the other team.
Oh yes, look at the lineup of TUPM Gearhawks. As you've mentioned, they have taken the inspiration from a team fight yesterday from Team Secret, and for UST Teletigers, you have Kaiser. You can't go wrong with taking Fiora as well as Lazuli. You have the situation of having the response around the map, and as well as you have your Wukong to guide you in for Chaos, taking as well for Lulu for Poro. Wild Growth, and as well as taking the Cyclone in to disrupt some fights or engage something for ganks. It's a good way to counter the side of Aesthetic, and taking also Messek in the side of TUPM Neep.
Yeah, for sure. There is quite a lot of scary team fighting potential coming from both teams. We are approaching that first dragon mark. Pings are already being dropped for both of these teams, so this is something that both teams are going to be looking to contest. Take a look at who might have that slight advantage coming into that. It's really about the items. It's really about which top laner is willing to sacrifice and rotate. This is a Cloud Drake, so it's not as high of a priority dragon as a Infernal Dragon, but at the same time, it is quite valuable. The movement speed that you get throughout the game does add up and does make a small difference, even though a bit unnoticeable. Like, that difference is there, and looks like both teams are already posturizing towards that bot side. 3 seconds till dragon spawn, and Gearhawks, they have that advantage.
Right now, they're covering the Dragon Pit as they want to take this first objective in, but don't wait for the Destiny to drive through to you. And as waiting for Chaos to engage, he is now on site and locking down the Smite battle to happen anytime soon. Oh, there goes the regeneration coming in, but Chaos is on the hunt. He's locks on the Cloud Dragon, but no, you're entrapped with the Hextech ultimatum there, but not going to be your best way to escape. Messick goes down for Gearhawks. Teletigers takes the first score.
Yeah, so they used the Hextech ultimatum on the close, and this is what I was talking about in that draft phase. They had an idea with that Fiora and with that Twisted Fate, force those 2v1 situations, go for that early push potential, and that's what they were able to do in that top lane. They got the 2v1 on the Darius, they got first tower, so even though they did lose that dragon, it's not the end of the world for UST Teletigers, and some could argue that they actually came out on top that first tower gold and that first blood gold.
Oh yeah, and they were totally outnumbered if UST Teletigers was there to take the opportunity for making in a steal. It was too controlled via Gearhawks, and as of the items to go right now, you're seeing Messick prioritizing the Sterak's Rage and the Fiora taking Triforce, which can be very beneficial. You know, the riposte in going in advance or going with the one-on-one with Messick as Darius. You can't go wrong with that, and as well as you have the chance to deflect, but you also need to look after the hemorrhage if it goes through to you in the next triple stack hit.
Yeah, that Triforce is going to be a bit tricky to deal with, so good call by Gearhawks to go for that lane swap. They are potentially going to lose their bottom turret for this, but this does come at the cost of Gearhawks able to take this Rift Herald and also possibly setting up a dive for themselves. This is a 3v2 situation, so most likely they're just going to look to push, maybe ignore the rest of the
Kaiser. Oh yeah, with the engage, Kaiser goes in, but he blocks out back in the wall. But no, he's taunted. Chaos can't move, but he cannot engage. He has the Guardian Angel, but he's not gonna take that risk for now. So Teletigers goes in slowly at this pace, Neat.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Teletigers, they got that bottom turret, and now they're already rotating towards this Rift Herald. So that rotation and that set of sequence of events actually favored the Teletigers. And now there's a 2,000 gold lead. The Rift Herald has been stunned, but I think Teletigers is going to want to contest this. They're going to try to make something happen.
Oh, they want to make something happen. All right, Poro here, knocked back up, but no airborne. They have already taken the Rift Herald. Too late for Teletigers to have it contested, but now they are trying to seal another lane. Maybe this will be the first destruction of the middle lane turret of UST Teletigers, but no, ultimatum has been popped up, but knocked back out. No, he has been traded. Bitter End takes in a bitter takedown from Teletigers from that one.
Yeah, Bitter End got deleted by the rest of the Teletiger squad. Was only there by himself, not much follow-up afterwards. We saw the Gearhawks, they committed that Ziggs ultimate as well as that Bear's, poke before that initial fight. So they didn't really have any follow-up when Bitter End went in. And it was the Teletigers instead who were able to come out on top there. But meanwhile, we did see Lazuli actually ended up on the receiving end of things and also died as well. So gold lead still in favor of the Teletigers, but that ultimately was a 1-for-1 trade. So no team really coming out ahead.
Oh, not yet, alright, but you have now Kaiser just going up with a gun challenge. And as he tried to take in some hits, you need to get back up there because Camille's gonna take him for a half-life trade, but not overextending. That'll be the good decision for now, but Slide takes him for a bit of auto-some shoddy, going back up for the airborne for the safety of the team. Let's back up a little bit, Neat.
Yeah, so it looks like both of these teams are now kind of trying to find their footing as we approach this mid-game. The Dragon is gonna spawn in 30 seconds. It is an Infernal, so very high priority there. But it's going to be because if we evaluate which team has that better 5v5, I do think that is the TUP Gearhawks. It's just that the Teletigers are never going to let that 5v5 happen. They're going to continue to apply this pressure on the side lanes, look for these pick opportunities, and not really give the Gearhawks an opportunity to do that. So we do see that. TUP Gearhawks, they know the drill. 5 members walking towards this Dragon Pit, whereas the Fiora is split pushing, does have that teleport available. And they're going to be opting to try to apply the side lane pressure and force the Gearhawks to make bad decisions.
Oh yes, if they take the risk, you have the smite, but if you need to have a contest, you need to look after Lazuli as well. The Destiny is still on, so anytime soon he can just totally stun out of the way if ever he wants to get countered. But for now, we're just seeing Kaiser and Messick are just going in around top lane and just trying to poke in with one another with spams as they control some vision and the Infernal, and this will be a very valuable take. And whose team's gonna get this? But right now they have started the engage, not rather making it up to the Dragon. No, no, no! As they try to have in a set of the ultimate lockdown, you have the Hextech in, but no, there's a trade for life in the side of TUPM for that fall. Bitter End takes another fall for that. And for this, I think UST is gonna take this opportunity.
And I think Teletigers played that so beautifully right there. They applied a lot of pressure on that top side. They forced. Ooh, wait, hold that thought. As we do see the Fiora engaging, gets already 1 kill. And are they gonna get more kills from this? We do see that they're able to just walk away, and they still get that Infernal Drake, so ultimately still goes in favor of the Teletigers, and they got a freebie kill on top of that on Ushiro.
Oh yes, so that was an opportunity that they need to take. Teletigers has seen the way, they can't back down now. So for that, they would have this advantage to push further and put their defenses in. But look at the items right now, Neep. So you have Triforce in the side of Fiora and Twisted Fate, prioritizing ROA as well, which can help him go a bit of a tankier build, but through scaling. But he needs some extra magic damage for that. And also, as Kai said, standard Borg, and as well as you have the Mortal Rewinder as well. And as well for Wukong, you have the GA and Lulu, the basic standard build for support, which is she will be needing once she needs some support from the backlines if ever Wukong engages.
Yeah, for sure. So it is going to be quite interesting to see what TUP Gearhawks does in response, as so far it's the Teletigers who've been able to execute their game plan. I really liked how the Fiora kept on applying pressure top, threatening the potential turret, forcing the Darius to recall, and then the moment they see the Darius recall and show himself in top lane, Fiora immediately teleports. They immediately pull the trigger to try to get something happen, and they force that 4v5. So very well played, well executed strategy coming in from the Teletigers, but UP Gearhawks, they're still in it. They're not gonna, take this lying on the ground. They are gonna take this bottom turret, but Teletigers, they're going for the kill in the mid lane, and they're already looking at this Baron Nashor play.
Oh yeah, for that take, I think this is gonna give way for the opportunity of taking this Baron for themselves. They need this hand, they need this buff right now for Teletigers to move some minions in, but that is, you're caught in the middle. The Noxian Guillotine makes the damage, but no, you can't escape the ultimatum, but taking that down, Bitter and takes it a sweeter way of doing this, knocking back up, but they have TUP and Gearhawks just exchange some autos, and Kaiser goes in for the repost. For the defenses, a trade goes in 2-7, not too far gone, but still Gearhawks still remains strong for this one, Neep.
Yeah, they're gonna get that mid lane turret, so the gold leads 4,000. So there was a bit of a trade, but ultimately, I still feel like it's the Teletigers. They're dictating the tempo of the game.
Oh yeah,
making things happen, and it's just really paying off for them right now.
It is, and as they wanted to see some more action, they're trying to maintain this discipline, and having this chance against Teletigers to be on the same spot at the same moment in the playoffs. This is getting more interesting, Neep. And looking at the stats right now, 2-7, 12 minutes in, and nobody's taken the Baron, not yet.
Yeah, so 2-7. Roughly 5,000 gold lead. The Baron has not yet been taken, but I do think this is something that Teletigers want to explore. They want to send the Fiora towards that bottom side, apply that split push pressure, while the rest of the team develops the map. They start warding up, they start completing these items. Taking a look at the items real quick, we do see that, the Gearhawks, they aren't completely out of it. They do have their items complete. They're all sitting at like 2 items each, whereas the Teletigers are also sitting at 2 items plus a bit extra. So
yeah,
in terms of like raw power, it's still anyone's game. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much gold you have if the items that you have in your inventory don't reflect that gold lead. So still anyone's game here, and this is just game 1 of this series. So
one long journey to start.
Yeah, and it's so far the level of play has been quite impressive so far in this game 1, and it's going to be interesting to see how these teams adapt, adjust, and develop these strategies as this best of 5 series progresses.
Oh, I believe this is the start of the journey for this match of the day. Playoffs, this is too tight, but you need to make or break it. But you have the upper hand of climbing your points in. This is the way to go. But you're seeing we're entering either the mid, a possible late game possibility, and looking at this point, Shotty, if he gets into the chance of pushing some late game, but you have a stun there for Bitter End, just trying to be pulsed on by Teletigers. You have one annoying champion in your end, so you have Twisted Fate just probably going around taking some vision as well as engage some fights. But if you're on the side that you're too vulnerable, and as well as you're being trapped in some kind of a sandwich situation, he might get a chance to pick one off.
Yeah, so we do see the dragon already being started off by the Teletigers. No response there, and it's gonna be Kaiser.
No! Oh, the jump goes in! Oh, the steal of Bitter End, because he is so confident in taking that he has the red buff and not being in the safeguard there. UST Teletigers was having that mispress and taking that smite in because Chaos was on low and he might had this miscalculation of having that perfect tap on that smite.
Yeah, so great steal coming in for the TUP Gearhawks. That's kind of the motivation boost, the morale boost that you need.
Oh yeah.
Getting those objective steals without really risking anyone's lives. That's one of the best things you can do when you're behind. And that's what TUP Gearhawks need to really stay in the game right now. 5,000 gold leads, though, is something that you still have to consider. But, you know, far from not being over just yet.
Oh yeah, and looking at this steal of the Drake, as we enter the Elder, and mostly, nobody's taking the Baron for now, but in a tight spot, they're trying to put some items in already. So in the side of TUPM Gearhawks, they have already taken the Triforce for Camille, which is very an essential item for her, and as well as Sterak's Rage to get those, again, additional true damage coming from her first and second skill. So looking at this part, you're going to see Sly as Ziggs taking Ludens and as well as the Rabadons. You need that additional power from the Mega Inferno Bomb. So as it claps, as it explodes, one delay, it has a short delay that you can have this way of initiating a fight, but also you can have Aesthetic disrupting it. But as she wants to be the one big player to break everything up, and especially for a perfect set, you have Aesthetic to take you in. And speaking of which, there's a bomb as is starting to initiate right now in the Baron.
Yeah, so it looks like we're gonna start seeing. Okay, they're gonna disengage from that Baron. So just checking, see if the team had started Baron. They didn't have that vision control, so they were going into that objective blind. So just a quick check. Nothing really committal right there, but it's still the USD Teletigers. They're dictating the pace of the game, and they're forcing the Gearhawks to react to their plays, not the other way around.
Oh yeah, no, they're trying to put it in their own rotation. If you want to be inside of our rotation and our even our meta movements, you can be baited in. But I think TGR is just trying to provide vision in this river, and as well they have there's still no scuttlers, but well, this is their way of putting some wards in because the response of Lazuli can happen around the corner. But as they take this, they have the crab now ready to take some vision if ever they miss some points in guarding this river.
Right, so taking a look at how the rest of this game is going to progress, we have kind of reached that stalemate where both teams don't really want to do anything just yet.
No, not yet.
You know, there's a lot on the line. I can't blame them. No one wants to be the team that just throws a lead or just like completely lets the game go to waste, right? So they're taking their time. They're looking for opportunities before they commit to anything.
No, I think right now I believe they're getting more very cautious in every move that they do. They can be easily picked off by Rushiro, Bitter End, because they have greater vision. But on the side, don't go wrong with Lazuli for that, because as they weigh the situation, as their items go higher, it's going to be a contest fight in which they can be in a tight spot this time in taking this Baron, or even a wipe can follow through because even their turrets is still intact, because I think it's still on the side of work. Oh, but Chaos starting in. Oh, Bitter End, the pick off will connect. Oh, but no, the arrow, you have the knockoff back. But still, the Mega Inferno Bomb continues, but that's a revive for Chaos there, but still somebody's waiting for you on the other end. But that with the engage, with the grab and the hook, you have the initiation from Messick there. Don't go wrong with the Bitter End, because that is another GA popping up for their security, but the knockback goes in for Chaos. But no, make it a shoddy, sorry, and that is still an engage. As Kaiser saying, we're not yet done, as they try to engage it. Destiny goes in, but no, they're inside the turret. But as they try to have it on a cautious scale, let's get back up for a minute.
Yeah, so that's going to be a 1 for 2 in favor of the TUP Gearhawks. That was what they need, even though they're behind. It's all about taking those small advantages when you can. We did see that it was Chaos who actually overextended quite a bit too far. Popped that GA and got immediately punished. Great play by Messick.
Oh yeah.
Fiora wasn't really there. Fiora came a bit too late, and at that time they're already quite low on HP. They opted to go for a potential re-engage, and that kind of backfired as well. But it looks like there's still going to be more team fighting going on
the middle of the battle. But here is Kaiser just abusing the power. Oh, Kaiser with the hits and the auto. You can't go wrong with the burst there, and that's an Infinity Bomb trying for the follow-up. But no, they're already out, and this is going to be Teletigers taking this Elder.
Yeah, they're going to start this Elder Dragon. We do see Chaos is now back alive. Lazuli doing what he can as that split pushing Twisted Faith, gets that freebie on that bot side to get that power, and then just slowly pushes that gold lead towards their favor. It's now 7,000, 8,000 gold lead. in the favor of the Teletigers as they continue to take down this potential Elder Drake. There isn't really much contest, but they are. Ooh, Lazuli.
That was close. That was close. I thought he was going in for an overextending. Oh, the auto will connect, but it will still go to Oshiro. He has seen that opportunity, but no, he still overextended it. But that is the follow-up coming in from Shoddy. Take one in, will take one out as well. Oh, the super mega. Okay. They're leveling the trade right now, Neep.
Yeah, I mean, I get the thought process behind why they decided to do that. Why Lai and Shoddy decided to go for that play. They wanted to zone out the enemy team, prevent that Varus and Zig snipe on their side. But you know, a bit of an overcommit, and now it's gonna be the Gearhawks. They're fighting back. They're fighting deep in this jungle. Can they get anything out of it?
Oh, the slice goes in for Poro, but not gonna be enough. For that is the airborne and knock up, but that is another kill for Kaiser. As for the follow-up, he has the upper hand this time. He has the GA, still haven't been used, but he has an advantage for pushing and as well as reinforcement. Lazuli, Kaiser, the burst, and looking at the lower part of the map, in the bottom side, bot lane tower of TUPM Gearhawks, they have already taken it as a freebie, so that as well has the higher attack speed. And look at this, speaking of which, I knew he had the rapid fire cannon for Twisted Fate. That makes Lazuli another essential for split pushing, and if you want to have a diverted, or you want to make a diversion inside of UST Teletigers, you can do it with Lazuli for this one, Neep.
Yeah, so we do see that the Teletigers, they're still in that lead. They've got that 9,000 gold. 3 of the members still do have that Elder Dragon. So they are significantly stronger than the Gearhawks just from a numbers POV. You know, the items and levels speak for themselves at this point. So they're free to kind of apply pressure wherever they want. We do see they've kind of opted to go for this very split style of lane assignments where the Fiora is in the top. Twisted Faith was at the bottom initially, but it looks like they're going to be defaulting to a 1-4 lane distribution, trying to apply that pressure as this Baron is up, and this is the objective that could potentially end the game.
Oh yes, but as they try to weigh things here, they're taking the first step in the Baron as they try to have it controlled. No, the Inferior Bomb taken for the Vision. I think Messick tried to get, with the miss hook there, and that is now a follow-up for this one. They have turnaround, and as they started the party here, and you have coming damages coming from the backlines as Lazuli takes in more kills. You have a knockback and a follow-up again. Occasion with the stack of power. Here comes the Destiny. Last hit goes in, but no, you need another one. That is full man power of UST Teletigers for that good play. And that was one heck of diversion as well for the backline strategy. What a good play.
Yeah, and that's going to be now 5 members dead from the Gearhawks, and this is going to be game 1 going in favor of the UST Teletigers as they get that clean team fight. They had that gold lead, so there wasn't really much that Gearhawks could do at that point aside from pray and hope that the team fight went in their favor. But in the end, it's going to be the Teletigers, not the Gearhawks, the Teletigers. Pardon that visual mistake, taking this first game of this best of 5 series. There we go. There's the love that the Teletigers
yeah, Teletigers taking game 1 today, Neep. So that was one quick game of making it for the first score, don't you think? Nice, Teletigers.
Yes, sir. So it is going to be the Teletigers taking that first game. It did a really good job at executing their team composition. Huge shoutouts to Kaiser, playing the role of that split pushing Fiora extremely well. And, you know, Lazuli was there to just back them up. It does take a lot of trust and a lot of communication to be able to properly execute this 1-4 style of team fighting. And I think the Teletigers did a good job there. On the side of the Gearhawks, I really liked the strategy that they brought into this game 1. They had the Varus, they had the Darius, they had the Camille. It was just a matter of the things not really falling the way that it should have in their favor. They weren't able to get the pickoffs and the big team fights that they wanted to really just create a stronger 4v4 presence on their side. And now it's going to be preparation phase as we potentially head into game 2 in a bit. And both of these teams, you know, they've got a lot to think about. For the side of the Teletigers, they want to maintain this momentum. They want to continue winning. So it's a question of, do you stick to what worked in game 1? Or do you try to shake things up? Do you go for something new? You know, do you fix what's not broken? Basically, is the question for the Teletigers. And for the side of the Gearhawks, they need to start, you know, pulling out the strategies from their bag. They kind of need to identify where they went wrong and how can they play better. and hopefully bring that new fresh mindset coming into game 2, as this is a best of 5 series, so
Oh yeah,
you're
still a
not
long way.
allowed to be tilted after game 1.
No, you're not. Because you know what makes it a great step for you if you have taken the first score in, and you can also weigh some mistakes that you went through on the first game from the banning, and also the banning of the drafting is the one core essential in making the game work. And if you want to have it on a settled scale on the next game, you can settle it for another counter and as well as another respect ban if you do. But because a best of 5 is still a best way to prove yourself, because you still need to have some 3 points in. And Teletigers takes in the first score. And that game also is brought to you by Logitech. So shout out to our partners. And if you're looking to supercharge your gaming setup and you can hashtag keep playing, check out Logitech's amazing gear at logitech.acadarena.com, or type exclamation point Logitech G in the chat to get a 175 discount with a minimum purchase of 1750 on any Logitech G products.
Yeah, and while we're talking about, great sponsors and stuff like that, I just want to mention as well that AcadArena is now on TikTok. So
Oh
make sure
yeah.
to follow at AcadArena on TikTok, as the first 1,000 followers on TikTok will get the chance to be raffled into our weekly giveaways. We've got
Oh yes.
amazing Logitech gear actually up for grabs, so very appropriate. And just all you have to do is just post or tweet with the hashtag AA TikTok giveaway to make
Oh
your entry
yeah.
count. So
I
pretty
would take
exciting
my
stuff
entries
there.
in. Yeah, I would take away entries in. The first 1,000 gets to have the chance there. So, guys, don't miss that opportunity. You have now gone TikTok and follow Acad Arena. So, what makes this awesome Neat, is because the rivalries continues with Teletigers and as well as TUPM. And what makes it so interesting is this is their chance of raising their campus torch. So, if you want to bring esports to your school, the AcadArena Alliance program is here for you. So, Alliance members gets club access to our exclusive tournaments, mentorship, event support, and of course, the Globe Esports Merit Scholarship. So learn how to join the Alliance today at acadarena.com/alliance.
Yeah, and I mean, both of these teams, they've been part of the alliance for quite some time now. Both of
Oh,
these
yeah.
very familiar members of the alliance program. So there is that legacy that comes with it. And
Mm-hmm.
if honestly, if you want that chance to participate in that University Alliance Cup, as well as reap the other benefits that the alliance program has, the signing up for the alliance program is honestly the best way to go about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what makes it so awesome is you have these perks, and as well as this is your way to start a competitive group of esports players. You know what I mean? Since you're studying, because you have this hashtag not just play, you have the opportunity to start in competitive plays, and this is your chance to have yourself or ask yourself if you want to take it further. You know, a stepping stone for your esports career, starting here at AcadArena.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, speaking of stepping stones,
Yep.
this is gonna be the stepping stone to that grand finals, to that semifinals dream
Mm-hmm.
that these
Oh
teams
yes.
have been trying to aim for the past month or so.
Mm-hmm.
And and taking a look at the bracket real quick, we do see that the winner of this best of 5 series is going to be facing the CPU Golden Lions in that semifinals match tomorrow. So
Oh
there
wow.
is quite a lot on the line for these two teams. The road isn't over just yet. So it's about these teams kind of proving that they have what it takes to not only win this quarterfinals match, but
Mm-hmm.
win that semifinals and eventually take that effort to the grand finals as well.
Oh yes, as they make it to the best of 5, TUPM, we're seeing Hawks and Tigers fighting for the scores. And tomorrow, it's going to be the Lions to take in a bigger arena on the semifinals. You know, in this game, Neep, in the League of Legends Wild Rift, and looking at the fact that you have a prize pool of 100,000 pesos and the right to call themselves the best in the country with scholarships. You're in for a treat by just playing and learning. So, you guys, this is your way to keep your powers and your energy flowing to support your squad and your school. It's TUPM. And next is UST going in for full games of best of 5. And looking at the stats right now, Neep, for our for the series of play group series that we did, you have the standing of UST for 9 points already. For TUPM, you have 10 points. Not too far, but what makes it so awesome is they're on one big tight contending point that they can actually change the game. Even us can even predict on what's going to happen next.
Yeah, for sure. And if we're gonna talk about stats, it's
Hmm.
kind of interesting to start talking about who the top performers in these teams
Oh
are
yes,
on a
oh yes.
statistical level. Because Lazuli, he's done a pretty good job of how he's been playing so far. I think he's
Hmm.
kind of averaging at that 8.4 KDA. So he does this good job of contributing to the team fights while not dying, while not jeopardizing what the team has for these guys. And if we take a look at the TUP side,
Yeah.
I do think the standout there is Ushiro actually. So they both of these teams are pulling up these great players on each side, and it's just a matter of just seeing which player comes out on top, which
Hmm.
player has that more consistent performance. As best
Oh
of
yeah.
five is really a test of that consistency.
Consistency and perseverance. It's one long game, and if we're gonna settle for a tiebreaker game, it's gonna be one heck of a match. And for the first priority bands of TUP Gearhawks, they've taken Rengar and Galio out for the priority bands and Neep, and mostly they don't want that hero's entrance and the sneak ganks from the brushes.
So now it's going to be the opposite side of things. We do see Fior was opted as a first pick for
Hmm.
UST, so they
Mm-hmm.
still want to stick to this split push style of strategy.
Oh yeah.
So TUP Gearhawks, they can take the Camille again. There is the what else is open? Diana. So Camille and Diana are open. Instead, they're going to opt to take the Lulu early into the rotation. Interesting decision by the Gearhawks to
Mm-hmm.
take this Lulu away from the Teletigers because if you take a look at game one, I'm not sure if Lulu had the biggest impact, and there's just so many other support champions in the pool, but it looks like that's not really going to phase the Teletigers as they immediately lock in the Seraphine instead as a potential support or mid lane pick,
Hmm.
and they're going to go stick with that Luzuli with the Chaos Wukong jungle.
Mm. They're actually having the exchange of who's gonna use the kryptonites from the
Right.
first set of games from TUP Gearhawk. So Chaos, a Seraphine, she can be squishy on the early game, but she's gonna need some additional support coming in from the jungle. So if they consider some way of to support her, she could be very essential if to getting her highness as well as the encore. The main point of getting that additional movement speed, getting tankier in engages. This can be an beneficial a skill for Lazuli and as well as Kaiser. But if you want to go in for a split pushing strategy, forget to get with the burst. For the fifth pick, Oriana. This is
Okay.
going to be a good engage for Wukong to get
Yeah.
over the Cyclone. Yep.
So they're not. So it looks like they're not going to go for this strategy wherein they go for the Twisted Flame split push. They're instead going to
Hmm.
opt for a more traditional. Let's have a strong 4v4 and have
Oh, yeah.
Fiora split pushing on the side. Meanwhile, on the side of Gearhawks, they have changed things up quite a bit. There is a Saya now, and we do see that it's going to be the Olaf jungle and the Camille going to be played in the top side instead of this jungle Camille that we saw in the previous game. I actually do like this a bit more. I think Camille versus Fiora is a much
Yeah, yeah.
nicer matchup compared to the
Oh,
Darius
yeah.
versus Fiora. So
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
forward to see if this changes anything in that power dynamic on the Baron lanes. And as for the rest of the team composition, it's going to be interesting. It's all about execution, really. They have that Olaf Lulu combo, that was quite popular a few months ago. But let's see if they can really make it work this game.
Oh yeah, and the bitter end taking Olaf. You can't go wrong with the Ragnarok, and as well as Yushiro taking Saya. I love what he does with her Feather Storm. Once you go in for this AOE damage that she can project, and you're in the backlines, and as well as you're forgetting the fact that she has an additional reinforcement slicing in from the back. One good strategy is to get some objectives and as well as minion waves in, so that will be a beneficial way for Yushiro to take some scores for TUPM.
Right, so it looks like we have headed on to the Rift already. In terms of these early game setups, nothing too fancy, nothing too cheeky here. It's going to be fairly standard. We do see that the Lulu can actually go for that vision priority and steal away the Scrying Orb and potentially grief the Raptors as well. So the Wukong is going to be forced to rotate all the way to the Wolves instead. That's something I personally like to do as well. Just mess with the enemy jungler in the small ways that you can. And it creates a bit of a slight lead for the side of the Gearhawks.
Taking the red for bitter end, you can't have that mistake of having what do you call this, bitter and taking some additional, even the slightest leverage of having his passive on a full scale. Having Olaf in the side of Gearhawks, it can be a good way for aggression, and as well as you have this additional takes for reinforcement for ganking. And if he goes in faster, he can just easily put some side health. You can put the additional health for TUPM to get their lanes properly, and the clears actually make it through the work.
Yeah, and if we do take a look at this top lane matchup, we do see that the Camille is able to just trade a lot more efficiently versus this Fiora compared to the previous game where the Darius did have a bit of trouble. So I do like this adjustment on the side of the Gearhawks, and I do think that this is potentially the step in the correct direction. But okay, so we did see the Olaf, we did try to see the blue buff was up, potentially go for that invade, but did not find anything. So this does give a bit more vision, a bit more knowledge to the side of the Teletigers that they know Olaf is roughly still at that blue buff side. He hasn't taken that blue yet, and he's hovering towards this bottom. So the rest of the Teletigers team can play accordingly due to this. And we do see a ping going down on the Olaf as well, so they're very much aware of this.
Oh, they are. So they need to put some more vision in. So for TUPM, you have full control of the dragon or the Drake pit, and as well as the river. And for the other side, same goes as well for Teletigers, maintaining control of the river. So even though somebody takes the dragon and gonna have an exchange for the Rift Herald, they have this maintained vision as well. So as they try to weigh on Gearhawks, Yushiro and Shadi, Ezreal and Yesaya might be a great way to contest it, because the problem, if you set up your Feather Storm too early, Shadi can just easily have it in a different direction that you can completely dodge it, right?
Right, yeah, exactly. So the Feather Storm is going to be pretty crucial at kind of evading a lot of the potential bursts that the Teletigers has. And we'll see if that comes into play very soon, as this is going to be roughly 50 seconds until the first dragon spawns.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, these teams are going to start contesting and fighting for this.
For now, we have Olaf. We have probably is going to take in Triforce in, as well as for Camille. And also, we have the standard build for Ezreal, probably prioritizing the Mana Mune. And as well as for Seraphine, she's going to be taking some Luden's Echo. I think that'll be a best prio item to be built in, as well as you need to have that extra additional wave of putting his magic damage out there. So for Wukong, probably it's going to be going for the AD build, and for Lulu going for the standard support as well. And this one, you have already taken Luden's Echo as early as now, and also for Oriana's Lazuli, I think they're going to go in for contest with Eleandra's Torment.
Yeah, that's actually going to be really big coming into this team fight. We already see that Sly has the means to take Poro to half HP with just 3 skills.
Yeah.
So, and if you take a look at the rest of the items that these players have coming to this dragon fight, no one else aside from Sly has that completed item for this fight. Everyone is just sitting on components, and this does make a huge difference. And with this, Teletigers are going to take this knowledge and comfortably and aggressively start this dragon. But they do need to be careful, as this could be punished if they don't play this correctly.
Oh yeah, they are waiting for the smite. There goes the arcane shift, but the advance are taken down. Oh, we have Sly takes the first fall, and now we have an advance for Teletigers in taking that run. And as they try to have it with a chase, Aesthetic goes in for the front lines, but no, he has to escape with the auto. But that is Ragnarok unleashing right in front of you. Shoddy takes in for the fall, but that was a trade altogether. That was 3-1. As early as that, we have a secure from Chaos and taking that Ocean Drake.
Yeah, so it looks like that trade did go very much in favor of the Teletigers. It was actually Sly who got a bit caught off guard there, wasn't in position, got picked off before he could really do anything. Even though he had that Luden's Echo, it doesn't matter if you're out of position and dead.
You're right.
As a result, they were able to come out on top. It looks like Gearhawks are going to do what they can to make things go in their favor. They get the first turret, which does stabilize the gold, which is a really great thing there. But ultimately, Teletigers, they're proving that they have that better team fighting. They're better at pulling that trigger, and it showed from that team fight. Now, we're going to see if this presents itself once again, as it is 20 seconds until this Rift Herald spawns.
You gotta look after Bitter End, you know. He just totally activated the Ragnarok coming from the backlines. And looking at the Aesthetic try to retrieve back or retreat back, and they were totally outnumbered because for the miscalculation of Slider, she can totally had an aggressive way of having it in enchant or a charm. And looking at the fact that she had already built in Luden's Echo, she had the chance for maybe to initiate a fight as well, if ever they were have some problems, because Teletigers was completely securing the pit. So they're having this vision as Shoddy just released the ultimate. They need to gain some vision as well as just taking this, and also the Rift Herald's been taken down by Aesthetic as well. Another trade, take the Drake, will take the Herald, so they're going to be for a pushing strategy this time. And for this, they're not going to be engaged, and as well as they're trying to wait things earlier or slowly for Teletigers.
Yeah, so now it's going to be the Teletigers. They're pushing that mid lane. They're going to get the first turret. I don't think there's going to be any team fight breaking out as a result. And the gold lead again shifts in favor of the Teletigers. 1000. Rift Herald, you know, that was an interesting set of sequences that happened. Nothing really came out of that Rift Herald play. It was basically a free objective. But I think the really next play coming up is going to be that dragon that spawns in roughly 2 minutes. These teams are going to want to fight for it. I think that's going to dictate who's going to end up controlling the rest of the mid game. Is whoever wins this dragon fight and whoever can properly adapt to this.
Oh, this one with the ground up, with the ultimate is showing it out with 2 versus 1 with a follow-up again for takes in for the hit. Poro for the back lines for the engage, and that is the Wild Growth with their full confidence with the Ragnarok is going to be against 2 in the turret there. Bitter End takes some few shots in, but again Chaos goes in for the Cyclone, but no, you're going to be up against this one. It's 2 against 1, but the release of the ultimate in the perfect timing there. Oh, Sly on the low with a rush. Shoddy, I'm going after you. Not going to be in for the safety there. That is Shoddy takes for the double, and for the follow-up, another goes to get Aesthetic for a good retreat and fallback. That was one good play from Teletigers.
Yeah, I mean, initially really well played by the Gearhawks. They got that 2 for 1 essentially. It's just that Teletigers, they were there to respond. They immediately rotated all 5 members, and they were able to get the punish as Gearhawks overcommitted to try to get that bot lane turret and set up that tower dive. And I do have to commend Shoddy. He's doing a really good job at pushing his limits and really securing these kills for the Teletigers for what would otherwise be unfavorable trades for the Teletiger squad. So now it's 6-3. There's a 3,000 gold lead, and the dragon's about to spawn. The Infernal Dragon, not to mention, in 30 seconds.
Oh, this is one important trick to be taken. Either one of these squads who takes it gains another way of making additional damage to the team. So looking at these items right now, you have Olaf, a Bitter End taking Triforce, and as well as Camille, and you have Saya taking Infinity Edge first. And I think she is going to need this for her passive, and as well as this is going to be a beneficial way of planting Feather Storms out there. And once you hits you from the back, you're going to feel some crit and also true damage as well. And you're going to look after the late game possibilities here, Neep. You know, Kaiser and Bitter End, what do you think of that?
Yeah, Kaiser and Bitter End, I think the matchup has been a bit interesting. Both of these guys have had their moments, but hold that thought as we do see a pick by the Teletigers onto this Orianna. They're going for that double kill. This Olaf is being a terror, and I think Bitter End wins that trade. To answer your question, you know, Bitter End just did a really good job on that Olaf, establishing his dominance, and now it's the Gearhawks with that momentum. They get that Infernal Drake, and things are looking a lot better for them.
Oh, that was one close steal! Oh, for that true shot, Barrage. I thought that was gonna make it, but no, they were on point with that smite. They're not gonna take that steal. That was very important, Drake, in the side of TUPM Gearhawks. They had the upper hand there in taking some isolated member from Teletigers, so they had this way of getting that Infernal for themselves. As a way, they have additional push for this one.
Yeah, so we did see a trade in the top lane. Kaiser was able to get that additional turret. So it is actually pretty much anyone's game at this point. The gold lead is practically equal. The kills are almost equal as well. You know, it really just boils down to who's going to be the one to fight for this upper advantage when you've reached the stalemate, when both teams are equal. You know, it is a very difficult position to play, because when you're in stalemate, there's really only 2 ways you can go. You can either go as that winning team, or you end up losing, you know. And both of these teams, they don't want to be the reason why, you know, all of the players actually, none of the players want to be the reason why the team is losing. So expect very cautious play from both of these teams as they kind of poke around and try to find an opening in the enemy team's armor.
I believe, Neep. I believe in 7-6, but the Infernal Drake, UST Teletigers needs to hold this one, because if they do, they will have a good fight in contesting in the upcoming clashes. But you have the Hand of Baron to guide you in, but you have balance, destruction of the turrets, but the Teletigers has an advantage, has a bit of advantage in securing some minions in. But as they want to start this, TUPM is also providing vision in the rivers, and as well as you're seeing this, they're trying to poke on isolated members because that's their only chance in taking a Teletigers. Once they're all in together, but now that they have started it, oh, Poro takes in for the one too many for that engage in the middle turret. That was too early there. They had the opportunity of might as well take it, but for the follow-up, you have another one, the raging Ragnarok in the side of TUPM Gearhawks as they settle this bitter end. Takes it for the wild growth, but no, they're trying to take it slowly. They need to wait on Shawty and Poro to take it for another clash, but this is an open opportunity for the Baron on the side of TUPM Gearhawks.
Yeah, exactly what you're talking about. Take the advantage, go for the picks, and that's what Gearhawks were able to do, but they do need to be careful as Kaiser does have a lot of damage. They are going to respect that and back away. And TUP Gearhawks, they get that extra tower, they get the extra kill in that mid lane.
Oh yeah.
Now TUP Gearhawks, they look like they're the ones, in that driver's seat, dictating the tempo of the game.
Oh yes, I love the tempo, but if you don't have you don't have Poro in the side of Teletigers, Chaos is gonna need it. The Encore is gonna be the one needed essential once they engage, because if you get caught up in bitter ends, he is just one heck of a monster unleashing Ragnarok, making it a bigger Olaf from Aesthetics Wild Growth is too much to handle. So they have to pick him off in any opportunity, in any way, in these few seconds now.
Yeah, I mean, Bitter End is 5-2-2 right now. He has that.
Yeah.
He has that Guardian Angel, working towards that Sterix engage. So he's gonna be quite strong and quite tanky in the upcoming minutes. And when you have objectives like this Baron just kind of sitting there, you know, it is when you have to really be careful. And I do have to commend Mesek. A lot of this comeback from the TUP Gearhawks has been from him finding these opportunities on the Teletiger squad, who just haven't really been respecting the pick from the Ari and the Camille.
Oh yeah. Actually, since you've mentioned Mesek, he had the upper chances in unleashing the Hextech Ultimatic in the proper state, taking down Poro for the previous fall. You know, that a bit of 0.2 slow once you get out. You had the chance of Gearhawks taking you and eating you alive. So as they try to have it controlled on their side, I think Teletigers and Gearhawks are going to be one heck of a challenge in taking this Dragon Smite in. But no, you're going to be waiting in Chaos. It's going to be for the prey. Oh, there comes the lightning, but the Smite goes in. Oh no, he has totally secured Bitter End. Goes in for the follow-up, unleashing Ragnarok for the end of days. Goes in for the killing spree, taking down one member out, Lazuli as well. There's no additional coming in. Oh! A free-man knock-up with the follow with the Feather Storm there. Damage. True Shot Barrage coming from behind, but Downtown continues to follow up. Teletigers taking another one for the team, but no, the Bitter End is still on the rage, and this is going to be one more take for this one. Not going to be in for safety. It's an ace for Gearhawks.
And there's roughly 20 seconds left on the clock for the Gearhawks. Are they going to be able to push this and possibly take the game? They are going to do what they can. This is a Camille, this is the Olaf. Both of them are quite fast at taking down these turrets. It looks like they're going to opt to play it a bit safe, go for that positional advantage, take the freebie, and steal the rest of the camp. And I mean, really well played by the Gearhawks. This Olaf is a terror right now.
I knew it.
So much damage, he's tanking so much. And even though Chaos was able to get, what, a 5-man knock-up, even though Aura was able to get a great Seraphine Encore, there just really wasn't enough on the Teletiger side. Kaiser did what he could. He had a lot of damage going into that fight and was killing a lot of the members of the Gearhawks. It's just that once Olaf respawned with that Guardian Angel, there wasn't really much that Kaiser could do again afterwards.
Oh, I believe in you, Neep. You know, Poro has the chance there, but the combination of Olaf and Lulu, if he had the chance to disable him, you know, once he activates that Ragnarok, it's going to go in a full frenzy kill from him. And not to mention, he's totally unstoppable. So the only way to take him out, maybe Kaiser can do it with a split-second riposte. But for that split second, you need to also disable the Feather Storm of Ushir. There's too much damage coming from the side of TUPM Gearhawks to be scaled up in this late game. So we were talking about this one earlier. If Olaf gets into the late game, you have to weigh the chances of making a trade here or making an isolated pick-off from a Teletigers.
Yeah, so it really comes down to getting those isolated pickoffs, but what do you see that the Teletigers, they're gonna opt to group up, get that pressure. They're in an interesting position as both the Baron and the Elder Dragon are gonna be up very shortly, and this is where a lot of the team starts to fall apart, start to get out-rotated. And it's really this stage in the game where you can see the veterans from the newer players. So how these teams decide on what to do and where to rotate, you know, is quite telling and can be quite the game decider, you know, in this best of 5 series in the quarterfinals of the ROG University Alliance Cup Season 2.
You know, racing the campus torch, what makes it so challenging is getting that campus torch. Teletigers and TUPM Gearhawks are fighting for this one. It's just game 2, Neep. We have few more games left, and Teletigers has taken the first score. I think TUPM is trying to make their way on the first one as well. You know, contending fights, tight fights, I love it. And looking at this way, I think this is gonna get one heated battle today.
Yeah, both of these teams are doing whatever they can. They're setting up for this Baron right now. Wards.
Okay.
We do see that Camille was at the bottom side. Ari also looking for a pick at the bottom, so this might just be the Teletigers potentially starting this drag Baron. No, it looks like they were going to get spotted out. Decided to back off, and the clock is ticking as we do see 25 seconds.
Oh, they're taking it.
Elder Drake. Yeah,
oh, they're taking it, Neep. They're taking it, Neep. Oh, Sly here, not to being too, just providing vision for the squad. I think they have seen the potential here for Fiora to take this. Oh, no, he's on. Oh, he has totally unleashed the potential challenging. Oh, no, that was the starting point of this clash. But they started to make it through. Oh, that was 2-man knockup of the entire. They need to unleash a bitter ends. Ragnarok right now taking from the back. The ultimate goes in for Shoddy. Oh, they had the upper hand and advantage. Sly wasn't moving.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no pause in Wild Rift at the moment. So players are responsible for their own network connections, and the show must go on. But that's
bitter end. Oh, here's the pickup. Oh, there goes the Guardian Angel, Neep. But no, they're still preying on the Elder, but that is damage as well. Oh, you have now. They have taken Olaf out. This is the chance of Teletigers to push through this. Oh, the opportunity has been followed by the Tigers taking Shotty for the last hit. Will it connect for the last hit? Auto Messick, no, for the slice. And this is a 2v1, but no, this is going to be a retreat back for the good decision of Gearhawks. But no, I think you're not escaping Lazuli for that one. Oh, my excitement. What was that?
Oh no, Sly. So Teletigers, they win that team fight. They kind of got what they were looking for. They're down 7,000, 8,000 gold, but it looks like they're able to make things happen. And you know, a bit unfortunate right there. We do see that the pick'ems are in favor of the Gearhawks as well. Everyone is cheering for the Gearhawks. Guys, you gotta channel your energy. Send your energy to Sly.
Oh, send it, universe.
Yeah, send that energy to Sly. Sly needs that energy because maybe his phone died, maybe he ran out of battery. I don't know, but send that energy to Sly. That's what he needs right now, as the Gearhawks team faces the extremely daunting task of entering their late game in a 4v5 situation.
I think they have seen Sly not moving down below, so they had to take the chance because the charm of Sly can either take down Kaiser or even Shoddy out on the clashes. So she's an essential champion as well inside of TUPM Gearhawks, but they have waited for the timer to reset as this is trying to be contested in the Elder Drake. Come on, Teletigers and Gearhawks. Oh, they have vision the side of Gearhawks as well. Teletiger started the damage, but the opportunity continues to follow. Oh, one more hit. Oh, he's on low. Oh no, Ragnarok is not going to be enough to take that for the damage and the defense. Shoddy going in full mat, taking out Aesthetic on the side. But the red, taking for the last Elder. Goes in for the hits of the high nose, but the Feather Storm connects, and that is the Elder secured by Teletigers. They have full confidence right now on damage, but right now, Messick is trying to retreat back. The upper hand continues to fold for Teletigers for this one, Neep.
Yeah, so Sly was able to come back towards the very end, but at that point, you know, it looks like the Teletigers, they'd regained their composure. They found the footing that they were looking for, and they were able to just confidently take the team fight, and now they're knocking on the doors of Gearhawks, potentially looking to take this game 2 away from the Gearhawks and going to be potentially one
Oh,
win.
3 versus 1. Oh, Hextech again. For the safety,
That's
no, the revive for the GA not gonna be enough. Not any point now, but Teletigers, he's saying, let's take game 2 for this best of 5. Teletigers, you have the second score in.
And now they're only 1 win away from securing this quarterfinals. What looked like Gearhawks' comeback victory in game 2. You know, this is a disaster struck, and now TUP Gearhawks, they're looking at a very daunting task of completing the reverse sweep.
Oh yes, we were talking about Bitter End getting the full potential late game, and as they tried to see the potential of picking off Olaf, they had the confidence right there, and I think that was the missed. Sly wasn't moving on the down below, and they have taken that opportunity on the side of Teletigers to take that in. I think that was the it was the moment where tables has been turned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it really was the event that really just created that domino effect for the Teletigers. But I mean, you know, it's gonna take a lot to mentally reset. Personally, you know, coming from a player POV, I'd be tilted if that happened to me. I'm not sure how I'd be able to mentally recover from that sort of situation, especially when the stakes are so high. It's a best of 5. You basically gave away free win to Teletigers, and now you have to reverse sweep your way up. There's no more room for error, basically, in this series. It's only execution, and proper play at this point on. And the Gearhawks, you know, they were probably one of the biggest favorites coming into the University Alliance Cup, as they consistently place first, second in our ASUS Campus Open events coming into the season. So a lot of teams, a lot of players were expecting them to do well. And if we look at the pick'em, the community also expects the Gearhawks to win this matchup. In fact, if we take a look at like the caster votes, I'm pretty sure the predictions was Gearhawks.
Yeah.
There's only 2 people that voted for
the that was me. That was me.
Yeah, so the faith
that
in
was
the
Teletigers
was quite low coming into this match, but it looks like Teletigers, they're here to make a statement and prove everyone wrong.
Oh yeah, I think that was the first fall that they did during the group stages. And you know, we have to commend TUP Gearhawks for that game too. They had a stronger contesting point in the side of Teletigers, and knowing that they were having this discipline and maintaining the balance of the map, that there was one point that they had miscalculated, and that was one changing point that they can take as a way of, hey, we had the chance, Sly's not moving, let's take it. But for Gearhawks, they can really put up a fight against UST.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, it has been a pretty close series so far. Aside from just you know, the unfortunate technical situation that we just encountered, like both of these teams have been playing extremely well. I don't think we can discredit the Teletigers. They've been playing amazing so far in this series. And I'm still looking forward to the rest of the series. I still think there's a chance for this to be extremely competitive. You know, we have potentially 3 more games in front of us, or possibly the last game in front of us. I guess we're going to have to find out after we take a short break. Once again, it's been Neep. Alongside with me is OSX, and you're watching the Republic of Gamers University Alliance Cup Season 2 Wild Rift Quarterfinals, Division A. We'll be right back. You. We'll I'll anchor you. We'll make things exciting. We'll talk about life. We'll talk about Tito vibes. You know,
Hey, Tito Nip, I think we're
all
live,
right,
Tito
we're
Nip.
live. Hey guys, this is Neep. Alongside with me is Furzik, and welcome back to the Best of 5 series, the quarterfinals of the Republic of Gamers University Alliance Cup Season 2 Wild Rift. Once again, this is Game 3. We saw a pretty crazy game from Game 2. It was really back and forth between both sides. TUP Gearhawks, it looked like they had the game. They were slowly building up the momentum. Bitter End's Olaf was crazy. It was cracked. And it looked like he was about to really make something happen for this team and take it to a 1-1. But, you know, disaster struck. And now it's going to be the Teletigers knocking on the doors of Gearhawks as they potentially look to sweep this and take it to 3 games. While Gearhawks, they have to go against the extremely daunting task of going for that reverse sweep.
Yeah, extremely daunting task indeed. It's very rare that we have situations of reverse sweeps happening. Usually a 2-0 is too much of an insurmountable lead, to break past. But I just have to commend one of the players from the Teletigers side, Shotty in particular. He's been doing such a good time playing Dragon Lane carry, dishing out so much damage and just arcane shifting forward whenever the need to is there. And he does rarely die. He does fall down in the end, but just the damage output that he's been dishing out, it's been so much in helping carry his whole team in winning these team fights. So I'm very much expecting something similar to him in Game 3, heading towards Game 3, but we'll see, because Gearhawks, if I'm not mistaken, they were, I'm not sure if they still are, but they were the favorites coming into this matchup,
Yeah.
at least with respect to what the casters thought. So this is very unexpected, I would say.
Yeah, let's take a look at that player matchup. We do see it's Sly versus Lazuli. Okay, so, you know, both of these players looking very handsome. And it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup in that regard. I believe the mid lane haven't really seen too much action. I guess Lazuli did have a really great Twisted Faith game in Game 1. He did a really good job of just using the ultimates to create 2v1 situations with that Fiora. Whereas Sly, he had a great Ahri, you know. It's just that, for those of you who don't know, apparently his Tita turned off the internet in the middle of that game. So
Oh my gosh.
so it was a Tita diff for what happened there, unfortunately. But you know, you can't let that affect you. No mental booming allowed. As we potentially look into 5 games, you know, TUP Gearhawks, their goal is take it 1 game at a time. Let's forget that game 1 and 2 happened. Go in with a fresh, clean state, state of mind, and take those 3 games in a row. You know, that's the Gearhawk way right now.
Yeah, 3 games in a row is a bit of a hard task, but definitely very possible as we do head into pick and bans right now. It's gonna be Mesek with that first pick on the blue side. There's a lot of picks open right here, and it seems like they're gonna be favoring this Ziggs. It's being hovered right now. Ziggs, as we know, although he was buffed, still is a very menacing backline mage.
Yeah.
Basically, so it is such a core pick when you want
Now-
to siege down towers.
What's interesting is that Fiora has been doing so well for the UST Teletigers, but they decided to ban it themselves. So interesting decision in that regard, but it looks like it's going to be the Teletigers. They're sticking to this Wukong. This is the 3rd game that they're going to play on the Wukong. Chaos's comfort pick. I think he plays Wukong and Jarvan. Those are his 2 most played champions, so opting to go for the Wukong instead. And we do see that it's going to be Lazuli taking away the Ahri actually away from Sly. Whereas TUP, they're going to be happy to take this Camille. Bitter End and Mesek have been flexing this around. And we do see that it's going to be the Lulu pickup for actually Aesthetic coming in. So there is a few changes here and there. And let's see if they're going to go for the Olaf, because they picked the Lulu to enable the Olaf in Game 2. So is this going to be the same game plan for Gearhawks in this game?
We'll have to see, but what is similar is it seems like both of the supports, at the very least before Game 3, have been opting to go for Enchanters, but this time around, the support of the Teletigers right here on this Alistar, so it's going to be a change-up in terms of what the support role can do for the Teletigers. And Corki getting picked up as well. We don't want that Corki falling into the hands of the Gearhawks or when they already have the Ziggs. So poke champions, that's just gonna be a tough time for them when it comes to defending against the siege. But seems like it's gonna be a Saya getting locked in for the Gearhawks here, and of course, very stable early game being secured here by that Lee Sin pick.
Yeah, so they are going to drop for a bit more of that stable early game. They don't really have to worry about the split push presence coming in from the Teletigers. It's actually going to be really interesting to see what they decide to go for. It's going to be the Pantheon top, actually, into this Camille. So Pantheon was buffed by a decent amount in 2.3. However, it's really yet to be seen whether or not that's really enough to make him to his former state. If for those of you who are not aware, they added passive armor penetration on his ultimate, so that scales up 10%, 20%, 30%, depending on your ultimate level. So having that extra penetration, as well as the new Black Cleaver changes, might be enough to push Pantheon to that tear state. But what we can expect for sure is some really big Pantheon plays. We do see that Green Lantern shirt being rocked by one of the Teletiger players as we head on to the Rift. This is going to be Game 3 of the ROG University Alliance Cup Season 2 Wild Rift Quarterfinals.
Okay, it seems like it's gonna be a really recall by Kaiser. I'm not really sure what he meant to do there. Maybe he forgot to pick up a first item. You know, that could definitely be the case. But nevertheless, he's gonna be making his way back up to the Baron lane. Not really gonna be missing CS. 1 CS, I believe. So that's a really good push by Lazuli there. However, he gets traded by half of his HP. Not sure if that's worth it.
Yeah, so we do see that there has been a bit of a trade there. Lazuli, already down to half HP, is getting chunked quite a bit by the Ziggs. This Ziggs is not letting up. Already being forced to take the fruit there in the mid lane. So Sly, he's come back with a vengeance. You know, it's quite a frustrating experience, and he's going to let out all that frustration onto Lazuli in this mid lane. As we do see Gearhawks, they're going for a very aggressive play. Potentially a tower dive? No? Okay, they decided not to. They're gonna back off, go back to standard laning as the Scuttle Crab is about to spawn in roughly 5 seconds.
I mean, I like the aggression from the Gearhawks right there. The problem is there wasn't really a slow push into shove being set up there from the laners. So not much reason for the Teletigers bot lane to really face check that Tri-Brush. But still, it shows that Gearhawks are looking for something.
I think it was a bit of an information gap because they assumed that the Wukong started red side instead of the blue. So they were expecting that rotate, but ooh, the steal from Sly onto that Scuttle Crab as well.
It's gonna be very big. Oh, Lee Sin jumping in. Is this gonna be the first blood on the Kaiser? I don't think so. Bitter End gets chunked down a bit from the poke from that spear. That is a Pantheon right there, but we do see Sly still having permanent lane priority here in the mid lane, and this is to be expected from a Ziggs in the early game when Ari's wave clear isn't too strong just yet.
Yeah, we do see some action in the bottom lane. Shoddy taken down extremely low. Ignites are being popped. Both of these players in that bottom side trading it and duking it out. But in the end, we're just going to see a few summoner spells burnt, but no kills just yet, as this does create a good opportunity to probably reset the wave now.
Win condition though being secured here by the Lee Sin pickup. Bitter End piloting that champion. Double Scuts getting secured for the early game. Another
level 5 Exacto. They do need to be careful as Ushiro can potentially kill them. They are going to decide to back away instead. As I think at this point, now you have to recall, I feel like. Or you're going to greed for it. Potentially try to farm up for that early power spike. Corki, I don't think he'll have that Triforce in time for that first dragon. However, Infinity Edge for Ushiro is potentially in that realm of possibility if he plays it a bit right and make sure he gets all that farm.
And we'll have to see. It's gonna be an early recall for the mid and the bottom lane duo for the Gearhawks squad. They're gonna have some initial tempo preparing for this upcoming dragon, but you know, it's an option for them. They might even opt to take it really fast because assuming Shotty recalls to get this package in preparation for this dragon, and they'll have time. Especially if Mesek does or is able to secure lane priority up here in the Baron lane.
Yeah, so getting that priority is going to be important. 20 seconds until Dragon spawns. We do see that the Pantheon, I'm not really sure how I feel about Pantheon just yet. The trades haven't really been too convincing. I guess one of the strong benefits of this Pantheon is that he will be able to respond once this Dragon spawns without having to invest in a teleport or anything like that. I do like the idea from the Gearhawks. Looking for the pick before they start this Dragon. Ooh, Yushiro taking down to half HP already from just that Corki burst.
Shotty being unexpected right here, not really opting to recall to take his package. Which means that Teletigers can push away the Gearhawks setup here in the river and potentially start Dragon themselves.
Yeah, so the Dragon setup is going to be extremely important for these players. We do see that 4 minutes 30 hasn't really been taken just yet. Camille was forced to rotate, is going to miss out on a bit of farm, and that's really one of the advantages that you have when you're playing this Pantheon. You don't need to commit all the way with the rotate. Your ultimate covers half the map already. Ooh, bitter end. Almost getting caught out there, but we'll be able to safeguard away. And this does give an opportunity for the Teletigers to start up this Dragon potentially. Are they going to commit to it? They are not. I think they just want to farm up. I actually like this idea from the Teletigers. They probably want to be looking for their first item, get that Triforce, as they haven't committed to the package just yet as well.
I think it's a very smart move by the Teletigers, and Lazuli as well, not really having an item yet enough to, you know, instantly delete anyone he's able to charm. So I agree with you right there, but as we say that, it seems like Veteran has had enough of the waiting game attempts to start the Dragon himself, but no, still, it's gonna be a waiting game, it's gonna be a dance once again.
Yeah, so it is gonna be a dance as Dragon can still not be committed. The rest of these players, they're just going to be looking to take these tower damage instead. But I don't think it's going to be committed just yet. We do see Pantheon finally recalled, finally has his items. Potentially, this might be the start of the Dragon after a minute or so, a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes of waiting for this Dragon to be finally started up.
It's going to be starting right now, and I think it's going to be a commit almost half HP here on the Drake, as we do see Bitteran getting zoned away by Zazuli on this Ahri. It's going to be Wild Growth getting casted, but low HP right now. Lee Sin gets taken down. Mega Inferno Bomb gets casted here. Lots of AoE damage right here, but a good peel coming out from the Gearhawk squad right here, pushing out the aggression from the Teletigers. And still, oh, the Dragon hasn't been taken yet, but a turn comes in from the Teletigers right here. Low HP are the Dragon lane duo, and it seems like Lazuli is gonna come out on top. Flash out right there, aggressively. Charm misses, gets chased down by Sly, but Sly is actually opting to just back away. That was a very interesting move right there, but seems like the Teletigers have come out on top 3-1 right now as the scoreline, but still, the Mountain Dragon has
We're
still yet to
still
be
back to
taken.
this Mountain Dragon after 3 minutes. So these guys, they don't really want to commit too hard on anything just quite yet. They're really taking their time here for this objective, as I guess, you know, there's a lot on the line for both these teams. Here comes the engage. The Dragon actually got taken away by Lazuli. Chaos wasn't able to smite that. And that's a small objective for the Teletigers. Meanwhile, Mesek doing what he can to potentially get this tower. Does have that Rift Herald available, so potentially going for big tower trade here. First turret in favor of the Gearhawks.
And it is the first turret right here being traded by the Gearhawks. It should be worth it for them, even gold. Strong side, however, top side looks like it's gonna be a play on the top side right here, and it's gonna be a kill converted actually in favor of the Gearhawks.
Yeah, so kill converted onto the Gearhawks. They still have that Rift Herald available. Nice take onto Kaiser. Meanwhile, we do see that the Gearhawks, they're keeping up the pressure as Sly go through that 1v2 play. And okay, Poro, I see you. And he's gonna get the kill onto the Zig. So that's gonna be a 1-for-1 now, as both of these teams are doing what they can to really just build up the lead as we kind of approach this mid-game state of the game where it's all about those objectives and taking the free ones when you can. And good job by the Gearhawks. They got mid for free. Now they're looking to take bottom for free. They're not really relenting with this pressure. And even though they lost that Mountain Dragon fight, that's not stopping them. That's not deterring them whatsoever as they go for this big play.
Yeah, this is a very, very strong tempo power play from the Gearhawks. So it started out as a proactive play in the Baron lane, translated into a very impressive play by Sly in the bottom side of things. He actually got a kill onto Shotty. That's why he ended up falling to Poro on that Alistar. But now I think it's going to be the Teletigers' turn here, converging onto the top lane. I think they want to take a tier 1 tower of their own.
Yeah, so the Gearhawks, they're gonna get another tower. So it's gonna be the Teletigers, right? They're gonna look to take this top lane tower, but I'm not really sure if they can in time, as you know, there is quite a lot of wave clear that comes from this Ziggs. We might actually just see a forced team fight potentially instead. So mid lane being pushed down, we do see that bot lane is potentially being traded. This could be an engage onto the Teletigers if they're not careful. Ooh, aesthetic. We do see the Hextech Ultimatum dropping down onto Shoddy. Nice headbutt keeping that away, but it looks like Methek, he's not giving up. We do see that Bitter End was able to come in for that flank. Kaiser did go in with that Grand Skyfall, but there was not enough damage. And now it's the counter engage from the Teletigers. Lazuli doing what he can as that Ahri, but the 4 members of the TUP Gearhawks, they're keeping up that pressure. Lulu keeping everyone alive. And I think that trade goes in favor of the Gearhawks, as that's going to be a 3-for-1.
3-for-1 indeed, and now they do have a substantial gold lead, 3k right here in the mid game. If Baron is about to spawn, I'm pretty sure no one's gonna be eyeing that right now, since it's not too big of a gap between the gold of both of these teams. But I do feel that the Teletigers need to find a tier 1 down, taken down in either the mid or the bottom lane tier 1. Probably the mid, because it's just up on 100 HP to 100 HP or so before this Infernal Drake spawns.
Yeah, so we do have a few minutes until the Infernal Drake spawns, roughly 45 seconds. Meanwhile, I do think Methek is becoming quite the terror on this Camille, and the problem with this team composition that Teletigers has drafted is that they don't have anyone in the late game who can match Camille in that 1v1 laning phase. In Game 2 and Game 1, they had the Fiora, who's great at dueling in a 1v1 environment, but you can't really say the same for this Pantheon, and that's going to be probably Teletigers' downfall as they approach this later stage of the game. Meanwhile, we do see a fight in the mid lane. That's going to be Bitter End, goes in deep. The GA will get proc. We do see Methek now has come into the fight. Now 5 members of the Teletigers Chaos spinning Beyblade. Is he going to go for another follow-up? The Hextech Ultimatum has been popped as well. That's going to be Alistar, a huge engage on the backline. Is there enough follow-up though? We do see that Shoddy and Lazuli have been bursted down pretty well. But it's the Teletigers. They look like they're coming in on top. The Saya, however, he's there as well. He will get that cleanup. That is a triple kill, potentially a quadra kill. And that was just so many things going on all at once. But I think it's going to be, again, the Gearhawks making things happen and coming out on top once again.
Yeah, and I think this is evident of the Pantheon already starting to, scale down, like you said. In the late game, no one can really match this Camille. I totally agree with you right there. So with that said, I think it's really gonna be in the hands of Lazuli and Shotty to carry their team on their backs and make sure they can dish out appropriate damage in the upcoming team fights.
Right, so it is still 5,000 gold lead in favor of the Gearhawks. Shoddy, he's had a lot of trouble as there is quite a lot of positioning concerns. Sly will pop that ult just for the wave clear, and that's going to be pretty even once again. I think no momentum really being developed at the moment.
It's going to be a lot state of the game right now, as both of the players in these teams are going for their recalls. I'm pretty sure Gearhawks right now might be eyeing this Baron. They are sending Methek down in the Dragon lane to do some split pushing shenanigans, and it seems like Lazuli will be matching that split push. Meanwhile, the Gearhawk squad, 4 strong, are taking control over the top side of the enemy jungle.
Yeah, and I like this play. They're looking for that pick. I think someone's gonna fall victim very shortly. I wonder if it's going to be Shoddy or if it's going to be this Alistar. We do see that they are walking into that death bush, and here it comes. We do see that the play is already happening. Sly immediately taken down. It looks like this is actually in favor of the Teletigers at the moment. We do see that Shoddy is still alive. They are going to be able to get the collapse. Lee Sin doing enough damage to kill the Alistar, but Bitter End also gets taken down as well. So that's now a 1-for-2 in favor of the Teletigers, and that Death Bush did not go in favor of the Gearhawks whatsoever.
We did see a very effective Grand Skyfall right there. Kaiser finding the zigs in the backline. That's why Sky was taken down so fast, despite that being a proactive play from the Gearhawks squad. So things are not yet over. 4K gold lead, however, for the Gearhawks.
Yeah.
I still do favor their team comp heading into the late game.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this Pantheon is very much a big question mark for me, especially with the build he's kind of adopted. He has the Yomu's Ghostblade and Triforce. However, I don't think he will get that opportunity to go for those picks that he's kind of looking for as that Pantheon. But we will see, because, you know, the team fights in general have kind of... I do think that Teletigers have kind of shown to have that better late game team fighting prowess. So it's just a matter of seeing who ends up executing towards the end of the game. You know, we are slowly hitting this 16-minute mark. That's when both of these teams, 16, 18 minutes, both of these teams need to start deciding how they're going to go about taking this Elder Drake and what their plan is for these objectives.
That is true. And speaking of picks, Lazuli is in a pretty good situation right now, being 3-0 and 2. He does have Ari's 3 core items being completed right now, so picks are definitely a possibility. Maybe not from the Pantheon like you said, but Lazuli definitely on this Ari could potentially find something that could help the Teletigers establish some momentum heading towards this late stage of the game.
Right, so the Teletigers, they are doing a pretty good job of staying relevant in the game so far. Meanwhile, the Gearhawks, they're looking to try to settle things down. As we do see, a potential pick in the mid lane, possibly Sly is getting taken down extremely low. But I don't think that's going to be enough. Both teams are going to reset. And, oh, a Charm, Instant Cleanse. Really good mechanics coming in from Yushiro, actually. And I do like that he went to go pick up that QSS. I feel like a lot of players don't pick that up often enough.
Yeah,
oh, Bitter End.
Oh, man.
Alright, so Bitter End, he's in a rock between a rock and a hard place as he is forced to the Hourglass. That is 3 members waiting for him to spawn. He is dead. That's so huge, dying as a jungler. And now we do see that it's going to be Lazuli getting a pick onto the Lulu, actually. But the Saya is there, Sly is there as well, and potentially a really sloppy and long re-engage. We do see that Shoddy has gone in. He does need to respect this low HP Ushiro, as Ushiro does have the potential to potentially just kill them all if they're not careful. This will be the Dragon Star, but I don't think Teletigers wants to commit to this, as Mesek, he's still alive, he does a lot of damage, and he's looking to possibly be that threat, be that terror for the team.
A bit of a messy turn of events right there. Some action being had in the bottom side of things. We did actually see Chaos investing his Flash and then Cyclone right there to secure that kill onto Bitter End. Maybe that was worth it, but yeah, a bit of an overstep on Lazuli after securing 1 kill for himself, not really respecting the late game damage that Ushiro has on this Saya. And as I say this, Shotty has some plans to start the Dragon for his team, but maybe it's just gonna be a pull. We'll have to see.
So the Dragon will be started by the Teletigers. They're not sure if they want to commit to this just yet. Bitter End is going to be looking for the flank potentially. And I like how Mesek, he's still in the top side. He's looking to apply more pressure. The Pantheon cannot really do anything against this Camille at the moment. And it's going to be the Gearhawks with that initiative, as the Teletigers are probably look for the counter engage slide. Lazuli has already popped that ultimate, but that's a huge knockoff coming in. We do see that Bitter End has fallen. Poro doing what he can to be that frontline tank. Shoddy in the background just applying as much damage as he can. Yushiro and Sly are zoned out of the fight, but this is now Mesek's time to shine. He's putting in a lot of damage, but he will eventually fall. The score is now 2-for-2 for both of these teams, with no one really creating that advantage for each other. Yushiro is in that backline. He's doing a lot of damage, so is Shoddy. But now the Pantheon showing what he's worth, as he is going to be able to kill Yushiro as well. And now it's going to be a 3-1 favor of the Teletigers, as this Dragon is still up. 4,000 gold lead is still up for both of these teams to take.
In that team fight, the damage scaling of Shotty on this Corki has been pulling through, helping the Teletigers, just come out on top right there. And seems like, yes, they will be rewarded with their second Drake of the game. It's gonna be that Ocean Drake falling into their pockets, and that was a very well played team fight. I honestly do think that Teletigers could have even come out on top there even more if only they peeled a bit faster onto the
Right.
back line. But still, very well deserved win from the Teletigers. Now they are really still relevant
Yeah.
in the late game.
And what's interesting to note is that Lazuli does not have his hourglass just yet. Imagine if he had that hourglass to kind of reset after going for that initial burst. He would have been able to contribute a lot more. But with that hourglass, Lazuli is going to be quite the terror in getting these picks on the fairly squishy team composition of the Gearhawks. I think something that we do have to consider is that we are looking at a Lee Sin on the team composition of the Gearhawks. Lee Sin has that reputation of just scaling behind, of falling behind in the late game. Quite a squishy target, and while he does do a lot of damage, while there is that playmaking potential, ultimately he doesn't have the same scaling that these other champions do have, like the Wukong and whatnot.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Perhaps this Lee Sin could be likened to the similar scaling of the Pantheon on the Teletiger side. So perhaps in the late game, it's not that skewed towards the Gearhawks after all, especially if Bitter End can't find these insect plays for his team. And of course, they also don't have tanks.
Yeah, we do see a commit going down onto Sly. Are they going to be able to get the pick? We do see a 4-man pulverize by Poro. Is there enough follow-up? Poro needs to be careful as he might lose his life for this aggressive engage. Hourglass will be popped. We do see Chaos is being forced to disengage, and the call has been to back off, as we did see Kaiser lose the 1v1 against the Camille. This is the nightmare that we were talking about, and now it's Gearhawks. They're taking this momentum as best as they can. We do see Messick in the background. He's able to get that bottom lane inhibitor, and this just might be the game just here. That's going to be 5 members of the Gearhawks all alive versus these 2 members of the Teletigers, as the Gearhawks, they look like they're going to be able to take this game, and despite what happened in Game 2, the Gearhawks are going to maintain their composure and take it to a Game 4.
This is the start of potentially that reverse sweep that we would, all like to see coming out for the Gearhawks right here. And you called it, team. It's really that late game scaling from the Camille. There was no Fiora in this game. There was no Akali this game. Heck, there was no Renekton as well. So, no one could really match that, and it really pulled through for them in that split push 1v1. Messick was able to find that 1v1 solo kill against that Pantheon under tower for that matter. So, I gotta give it to Messick for that stellar performance that game.
Yeah, I think this was just kind of a draft difference at this point. Teletigers, they did a really good job fighting these team fights. Shoddy 749, he has a great stat line. Lazuli was doing his job to get these picks. And Chaos, despite being that frontline terror, he didn't die at all. Like, he did a good job of being relevant while not jeopardizing the rest of his team. It really just boiled down to how the drafts play out at the end of the game. Who's going to address the Camille at the end of the game? And thing is that Teletigers, they didn't really have the answer to the Camille. I guess you could have invested resources on the Ahri to get a pick potentially, with the Ahri and the Pantheon going for the 2v1 against Camille, but that never happened. And instead, it was the Teletigers, it was the Gearhawks actually, who ended up on top. And they're going to take away Game 3, and we have a series on the board right now. This could be a reverse sweep for the Gearhawks, while Teletigers, they just need only one more game to make something happen.
Yep, so definitely looking forward to some sort of adjustment coming from the side of the Teletigers right there. I agree with you, it's a draft diff. I think they need to draft something that can help secure their late game potential, at the very least in the side lanes, or maybe perhaps draft a Twisted Fate that can help aid the side lane pressure, or even put forward more side lane pressure, things like that. But given the fact that they didn't really find an early game lead, given the Pantheon pick, it's just that window closing for them. It just wasn't that obvious in that game, but definitely was felt heading into the mid and late game.
Yeah, so Ferzerk, I have to ask, seeing as you're a PPGL coach yourself, what do these teams need to do differently to make things happen, to improve and, fix themselves for this upcoming Game 4?
Honestly, if I were their coach, I just take it one game at a time. Especially for the Gearhawk squad, because really fast forwarding to the two situation, thinking 2 games ahead, it's a bit hard to grasp. It doesn't really put the nail down, in terms of focus. So I think they just need to continue playing their game, continue playing towards their win conditions. We did see in the second game, I believe, was it the second game? No, it wasn't the second game, but I think the Gearhawks are able to put forward really proactive plays. And I think they just need to keep doing that. They need to keep executing cleanly. And on the other side of things, Teletigers, they know that they can win against these favorites, the Gearhawks. So I think they just need to draft a bit better. Like you said, it was a draft diff. I think just a bit more mental energy to invest there in that aspect.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think, the Pantheon is a bit of an investment, because if you win with that Pantheon top, in game 3, your opponent in the semifinals and grand finals, they're gonna go into the preparation and be like, oh man, this guy plays Pantheon top, now we have to adjust completely. So, when you're 2-0 in a quarterfinals matchup, you have that liberty and you have that leeway to kind of experiment, but, this time around it just didn't pay off, and GG well played to Gearhawks. And once again, guys, this tournament is presented by ASUS Republic of Gamers, powered by the reigning king of smartphones, the ROG Phone 5, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888, a 1440Hz AMOLED display, and a massive 6000 milliampere battery. Take your gaming experience to the next level. Hashtag for those who dare. Available in your nearest ASUS and ROG accredited stores nationwide. Hop on to rog.acadarena.com to check it out. Again, huge shout outs to Logitech as well, as if you're looking to supercharge your gaming setup, you can with the hashtag keep playing. Check out Logitech's amazing gaming gear at logitech.acadarena.com, or type Logitech G in the chat for 175 peso discount for a minimum of 1,750 peso purchase on any Logitech G products.
And thanks so much to our sponsors and partners right there. And it's been a very exciting first series so far today in the UAC Wild Rift Season 2. Again, this is UST Santa Tomas Teletigers being one game ahead versus arguably the favorites in this series, TUP Manila Gearhawks squad. Let's see if the Gearhawks can pull through and continue to pull through, rather, because they did win one game already, setting themselves up for that potential reverse sweep that we all really want to see, because it's a very rare occasion. It's hard to come by, but if it's any team in this whole in the whole quarterfinals, I think the Gearhawks can do it.
Yeah, so it is going to be the quarterfinals right now, and we do have a lot more exciting games in store for us as well, because coming into the game 2, I believe it's going to be the matchup between FIT Itamrals versus PNU Sulo. So there is going to be a lot in store for us today, and we guys, don't go anywhere, as we are slowly approaching game 4. We're just waiting for the players to, mentally reset, prepare their drafts. And it looks like we'll be starting draft actually very soon. So, actually, maybe in 5 seconds, we'll shift, 5, 4. Count with me. 3,
2, 1.
Oh, okay, we're in the draft now, guys. Let's take a look at the bands. Take it away, Mr. Ferzerk.
Okay, so it's gonna be a Rengar and Lee Sin ban, jungle-focused bans on the side of the Teletigers, and that Fiora ban coming out, as well as that Gragas Flex ban coming out from the Gearhawks. So good bans right here. The Teletigers really don't want to be, dealing with any of the strong jungle picks. And seems like they're gonna be opting for that Galio. This is a flex pick. It can be played in the mid lane or in the support position. It really depends. But I do like this first pick. It's a very flexible pick. But the Olaf is open. And that is one of the counters known to be picked against the Galio. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, so it looks like Gagalio is finally open in this series. We did see a few bans adjusted to accommodate this. That was going to be the Lee Sin adjustment on that UST side. And that's going to be the Galio open now for the Teletigers. So this does leave a potential split push team composition available, but it's going to be the Gearhawks, not letting them get away with anything of that matter, as it's going to be the Ziggs taken away, as well as the Camille. So very similar draft to what the Gearhawks had in the previous game.
All right, and on the other side of things, Wukong gets locked in as well. Lulu just as much. It's gonna be likewise. It's gonna be a similar draft also from the Teletigers, but we still do not know what sort of Baron laner will be locked in. And we did mention it. Olaf is gonna get picked by the Gearhawks here to potentially answer this Galio, to potentially answer these the double knockups of coming from the cyclone from that Wukong. And again, Corki getting locked in, being paired with that Ziggs, double poke, double siege. It's gonna be hard to deal with.
Yeah, so it's gonna be the Corki. I do think Corki has been really one of the better champions this time around in this best of 5 series. We do see that the Olaf was taken away for Bitter End. Bitter End did have a great Olaf game in game 2, I believe. It's just that now the Lulu isn't gonna be available to assist this Olaf. And we do see that it's gonna be the UST Teletigers opting for that air quote counter pick matchup with the Garen versus Camille. Garen traditionally has had a pretty good time against Camille, and I think the Teletigers, they realized that they didn't have anything to deal with this Camille in the late game, and the Garen is actually a pretty great answer to that. He's not gonna be the best 1v1 split pusher there, but he's gonna be that body that can really check Camille and prevent her from going crazy in the side lane.
That is true. I think the Garen is a good pick, and it really depends if this Camille can snowball or not. Because if you think about it, if it's a 4v4, take away that Garen who's gonna serve as the front line for this Kai'Sa, it might be a bit hard as we are already headed into the game. That's already 10 seconds in, and not a lot of shenanigans here. Kai'Sa trying to clear this ward, but no attack speed on Garen, so definitely not something that he can do. Yeah, so let's see. Matchup here, Lazuli, Sly. It's gonna be a Galio versus Ziggs. I do expect the Ziggs to secure lane priority here against the Galio, but Galio is very how do you say, undervalued when it comes to his lane shoving abilities.
Yeah, Galio, people think of him as a tank, but there was a time, I think in like 2.1, where the amount of damage he was doing was way too high. Nowadays, he is a bit toned down, but still a very strong threat. Has a lot of damage, has the CC, 5-man taunt potential, and that global presence with that ultimate. So, Galio, overall, a really great pick, and that's why we've seen him so far banned the entire series. So, it's going to be interesting to see how Teletigers take advantage of this, capitalize on this, and if we're able to make anything happen from this.
It seems like what's going to be happening is a convergence onto the top side, the Scuttle Crab. It's going to be an Olaf versus Wukong matchup. It's going to be a 3v3. I'm wondering who's going to be able to secure this. I'm thinking it's going to be the Gearhawks squad because Olaf is an Olaf, and I think I'm right there. Chaos is opting to just trade Scuttles in the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, so really well played so far. It is pretty standard. We do see that, Gearhawks, they want to contest this bottom lane Scuttle, and Teletigers, they do need to be a bit careful as we do see that Poro has, I believe, Aesthetic has been taken out, so already that's going to be the first blood onto him. A lot of damage going down, wasn't able to even flash out of that. And, I did like the intent that the Gearhawks have, collapse on the Olaf, Wukong and Galio, and potentially win that early game trade since you're an Olaf versus Wukong. It's just that, you have to be careful with your positioning, and unfortunately for Aesthetic, he got caught out of rotation, and that's going to be first blood for the Teletigers.
Yeah, spacing is so pivotal when it comes to these early game Scuttle fights. So great job by Teletigers, really punishing the positioning of Aesthetic right there, giving them a slight lead in terms of gold. That's definitely going to help. The kill does fall into the hands of Shotty and this Kai'Sa, so it's gonna help them help Shotty get the Kai'Sa's upgrade sooner more than later. Oh, flash in!
That's so aggressive, but okay, I like that. Good job, Kaiser. Really establishing the dominance there, showing who's boss. By going for that immediate flash once he hit level 5, it's just that the execute damage was nerfed a while back, I think, on Garen, so, wasn't really there, wasn't enough. And actually, it was nerfed this patch, right? No, it wasn't. It's still the same. It's just that I guess it wasn't enough for Kaiser to go for that kill. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we see Bitter End chunk down Lazuli, and Lazuli does have the fruit available, so he's gonna stay relevant in the lane. And we are approaching that very delicate time slot of 4 minutes. That's the spawn of the first dragon. How do you think this is gonna pan out for Zerk?
Well, it's gonna be an early recall here from Chaos on this Wukong not really being able to pick up a GA right now, but I feel like it's gonna be another dance, just as similar as the previous games. Like both of these teams are very hesitant, as we've seen, in terms of starting and committing to these dragon things. So I feel like it's gonna come down to who can display more patience, who can punish mispositioning more in from the whole map rather for both of these teams.
Yeah, so 2 seconds until Dragon spawns, these players are already posturing for it. We do see that the Garen already has that Sunfire Cape. In terms of items completed, that is in favor of the Teletigers. The Rod of Ages already completed by this Galio as well. So let's see how this ends up panning out. The Dragon will be started on the side of the Gearhawks. They do have the Corki package available, so that is additional zone control that the Gearhawks can take advantage of. But here comes that Galio combo with that Wukong. A lot of damage going down. Is it going to be enough? We do see that the Wukong has already been taken down. The Ziggs is throwing down a lot of poke. The re-engage potentially from the Alistar. Kaisa running away with his life. But it looks like it's going to be the Gearhawks actually coming out on top as Messick. He's in the backline. He gets the freebie. And with that, it's going to be TUP Gearhawks with that momentum. And they immediately start that mid lane turret as they start to race the Garen in the top side for the first tower of the game. Very well played by both teams.
Wow, Gearhawks, they didn't, get or secure that Ocean Drake, but they did come out rewarded with that tier 1 tower in the mid. Arguably the most important tier 1 tower in whatever Wild Rift game. But just so much damage we did see coming out from both the Corki and that Ziggs in that early Dragon team fight. So nice execution for the Gearhawks right there. Gold lead is not too big though, and the Dragon again is getting started by the Teletigers.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be the Dragon now started by the Teletigers. The Dragon wasn't taken before, so it looks like Teletigers, they aren't really unfazed, but they do have to be careful as the Galio is out of position. Ragnarok will get popped. The steal does happen. Good job, Bitter End, as now it's Bitter End going in deep. He is getting 2 of them with him as well, as it's going to be the rest of the Gearhawks squad cleaning up, as that's going to be another 2-for-1 in favor of the Gearhawks, and the Dragon as well taken away.
Ooh, Gearhawks seems like they found their foothold in terms of momentum, being carried over from the previous game, translating into these very well orchestrated team fights surrounding these early game objectives. That is the very least the first Dragon.
Yeah.
RH has been started here by Messick. Not sure if this is going to be continued, but his squad's here for reinforcements.
The Gearhawks are definitely going to give away this Rift Herald away. The Teletigers, they're not even close. They don't even want to consider fighting the Gearhawks at the current state that they're in. Instead, they're going to potentially opt to possibly go for a trade in that bottom side. We did see that the first turret has already been fallen in the favor of the Gearhawks, and that has led them to a 3,000 gold lead. But it looks like this will be that bottom turret. Meanwhile, we do see a potential dive. Hextech Ultimatum does fall onto Garen. However, there doesn't seem to be too much follow-up, and they will let Garen walk away, as that will be a flash burn, and I think they should be able to get that turret as well on that top side.
So towers being traded right here. However, the Gearhawks have yet to use the Rift Herald, so that's still one resource, big, gigantic resource in their pockets to be used next, and I presume that's going to be used in the bottom lane tier 1 ever so soon, So although Teletigers was able to go for that cross-map play, Gearhawks is still a bit ahead right now.
Yeah, for sure. And meanwhile, we do see another potential play in this top side. The Olaf is doing a lot of work. Kaisa has gone in. The Garen was able to get that execute on Olaf. Here comes the re-engage again by Chaos. Does have that Guardian Angel to keep him alive. Messick is only 1 HP away, but he will be able to escape with that slingshot away. And now, it looks like that fight actually came out in favor of the Gear. No, it looks like it's going to be a 1-for-1, so no one really in favor of that. However, the Teletigers do have momentum, and they can potentially look to take this top lane tower.
Yo, that's actually a pretty okay team fight for the Teletigers right here, kind of evening things out, making the tempo of the game a little bit more stable for themselves. But do see that the Mega Inferno Bomb coming in, clearing this the wave in the mid lane. So it's just it's kind of annoying to be on the receiving end of that. You plan some sort of push onto a tier 1 tower and just gets ruined by a Ziggs ult. So that's really the power of that pick showing right now.
You do have to consider that there's a lot less creeps in Wild Rift as well for all the low PC fans out there. There's only 4 creeps in a wave, That's not very much you have to clear in order for the push to basically stop. So the Ziggs is just does such a great job at stopping that. We might see a potential tower dive, as here comes the Red Explorer already being popped. 2-man already popped. The package will come in, and it's going to be Chaos. Has to be careful. Will be able to get away with his decoy. but this does give them priority for the Gearhawks to take that free turret in the bottom side, as the Teletigers, they're going to look to potentially trade on the top side, but the Gearhawks, they're not really relenting, and they might go for a bit more on the bot side instead. No, opting to recall. Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be the Teletigers are going to take that top lane tower, and they will try to go for a bit of the trade. They're doing a good job at keeping the gold quite even. You know, it's only 2,000, still anyone's game, but the next dragon is up in 15 seconds. It will be the Cloud Drake, and that does have quite a lot of impact. If they're not careful, we do see Ushiro potentially getting caught out, but looks like they're going to be okay.
Something that's working towards the favor for the Teletigers here heading in this Cloud Drake. No package here up for the Corki, but they opt to use the Rift Herald right now.
Yeah, so they are going to pop that Rift Herald. We do see a potential engage. Messick is in deep, but the Galio is there for that re-engage. The Garen doing so much work, going for the immediate execute. It looks like Bitter End won't be able to do enough, as the Garen is such a huge frontline menace, but the rest of the members do need to back off, as they don't really have much damage left, but they will take that victory. That is going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of the Teletigers. The Rift Herald was popped to potentially threaten this mid lane. They do have that Ziggs and Corki available, but I think if you're Gearhawks, you back away and you reset, as you don't want to overcommit.
Yeah, that's true, and they do exactly that. It was a team fight, like you said, in favor of the Teletigers. However, because of that Rift Herald, the Teletigers really weren't able to push their advantage, as well as because a lot of their members were already low on health. So just a reset for both of these teams. This Cloud Drake is definitely still in contention, but we do see Messick on the top side split pushing right now.
Yeah, so we do take a look and see that there is going to be a potential pick off onto Aesthetic. We do see a lot of resources being committed, but they have to respect the rest of the damage coming in. We do see Bitter End wasn't able to do anything as the Kaisa gets the 1v1. They do have to respect the split push, as Camille is in that top side. He is pushing a lot of these turrets down, and it's going to be an interesting trade. We do see the re-engage again from the Zuli, as here comes Shoddy with that flash and slide. Needs to be careful as he's extremely low. This Kaisa does hurt quite a lot now, as that will be the end of the fight, but Messick was able to get that top lane turret.
Amazing play right there from Lazuli, flashing in to that Galio. That was a very calculated play from him, and that wins his team that Cloud Drake. 1-for-1 right now in terms of dragons, and the gold lead has about shrunk from a 3k gold lead to a not even a 1k gold lead. So
yeah,
it's a very even game.
It's an extremely even game for Izerk, and I honestly don't know who's going to take it at this point. Both of these fights have been extremely close, you know, nail-biter team fights. The Olaf, you know, he hasn't really been able to do what he needs to do this game. He is 1-5, and I'm not sure if it's because he doesn't have that Lulu available to him. He wasn't able to go for the Triforce as well, for the Guardian Angel as well. In the previous game, we did see him go Triforce, Guardian Angel, Sterak's. This time around, he is opting to go for the Triforce, Sterak's, and we do see the Garen. You know, this is what the Teletigers needed. They needed something that can stay with Messick in that lane, but he does need to be careful, as Messick could be potentially killing him in that 1v1. Instead, opting to just play it safe and back out. But Kaiser, ooh, he almost got taken down right there. And Kaiser again, he's taking so much damage from Messick, but Messick might go for the kill. He does get that kill with that flash, but Shoddy is there. Will he be able to get the exchange? Does go for the snipe? Nope, gets the dodge, but Shoddy does use that killer instinct to get that kill. Sly now unfortunately caught up in the crossfire. He will go down. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Gearhawks, they're not relenting. They went for a trade on the other side. They got the kill onto Chaos, onto Lazuli, and fights going back and forth all over the map, and no one really coming out on top in the end. But however, the Gearhawks do have the jungler alive, and that Baron is still up, so it might be in favor of the Gearhawks after all. Yeah, so now taking a look at how things are, they're gonna decide to opt back away from this. They're gonna back away from the Baron and just reset once again. They don't really want to commit. You know, there's just so much on the line for both of these teams. If Gearhawks makes one mistake, they're out of the playoffs. You know, all the work that they've been putting in for the past Wild Rift season goes down the drain, and that's something that they don't want for sure. Meanwhile, for the Teletigers, they are so close to securing their spot in the semifinals. You know, they had a really rough start at the very beginning, but they're doing all they can to put things together and make it work for these guys.
Definitely, they are in a position right now to win this game, especially because Shotty on this guy's is 6, 1, and 5. All of the gold is in her pockets. Can carry right now, but Chaos on the top side getting caught out.
Yeah, so we do see that Chaos will be forced to run away. The bitter end was popped. We do see a team fight potentially breaking out. We do see Kaiser as well. He's taking down a half HP. And now it's a bit of a stalemate right now as it's a 1-3-1 split. I think this is a bit better than what the Teletigers had in the previous game. The Pantheon isn't getting completely run over by the rest of the team. So let's see how things go for these guys.
Yeah, but right now, it is indeed Mesek with that priority in the side lane. That's a lot of pressure that the Teletigers have to deal with. But the team is still holding on, especially because again, Kaisa can still carry this team through the late game as long as there is no hole being punched through by Mesek like he did in the previous game. The Teletigers are still alive, especially now that the third Drake is about to spawn.
Yeah, we do see a potential pick possibly going down onto Mesek. They will opt to instead back off. But however, this does give Gearhawks priority over this Baron. They can set up picks if they want to. And, you know, this is a very dangerous position for the Teletigers as, you know, one Baron, one bad team fight is disaster and potentially the end of the game at 15 minutes.
And this is the power as well of the eyes are going in.
Alistar and Olaf, they've dove into the backline. They're already down to half HP, so here comes a disengage from both sides. Meanwhile, a re-engage from the Zuli. The Sly has been taken down. Shoddy is just doing so much work in the backline. He dives deep. Here comes the Galio follow-up, and that's going to be Shoddy with that triple kill. And that's a huge win for the Teletigers as they can push this mid lane. They can go for the Baron potentially. And that's not what the Gearhawks wanted. Camille was not there whatsoever. And just huge shoutouts to this team. They're doing a huge, great job in these team fights.
Yeah, especially Shotty. He's been so consistent throughout this series right now. They're knocking on the Gearhawks.
How are they going to go for it? There's 15 seconds left until these spawns are up. Kaiser is now with them as well. Are they going to go for the push? 5 seconds left on the clock. Mesek doing whatever he can to keep the dreams of the Gearhawks alive, but that's going to be the aim.
No.
5 members now. All flashes being burst. They're doing everything they can to stop this push. 28 HP. 2 HP. Are they going to be able to stop the push? No. It's going to be Chaos with his Guardian Angel. And it's going to be the Teletigers doing the unthinkable, finishing the series 3-1 and taking Gearhawks out of the tournament, and they'll be in the semifinals now.
My eyeballs were popping out of their sockets, man. Oh my gosh, that was such a turn of events. Shotty, I've been highlighting this player since the start, but you know that last slash where he just dove in with killer instinct, knowing that he could mow down the back line of the Gearhawks, knowing that the Camille was not there, being handled by Kaiser in the bottom lane. That was such a great team fight from the Teletigers and very well deserved to win. Going for that game-ending play as well, having the guts to end the game there. Wow.
You know, they went for the kill. You know, they went for it, and it paid off in the end. And once again, guys, that's gonna be the Teletigers advancing to the semifinals. It's gonna be the CPU Golden Lions awaiting them in the semis tomorrow. And again, you know, any last thoughts you want to mention about this series, Verzerk?
Personally very surprised that the Gearhawks went down 3-1 against the Teletigers, but that just shows the amount of growth that these teams can undergo throughout this tournament. You know, the power levels are not stagnant at all. So we will have to see what happens in the other side in the next game. FIT Itamaraos versus PNU Sulo. Favorites are the Itamaraos arguably, but you know, just as what happened during this series where the Teletigers managed to pull through and come out 3-1, maybe the same thing can happen for Sulo. We'll have to see.
Yeah, for sure. There's still a lot more exciting games left in store. And once again, guys, this tournament is presented by ASUS Republic of Gamers, powered by the reigning king of gaming smartphones, the ROG Phone 5, with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 processor, a 144Hz AMOLED display, and a massive 6,000 mAh battery. Take your gaming experience to the next level. Hashtag for those who dare. Available at your nearest ASUS and ROG accredited stores nationwide, and you can check that out at rog.acadarena.com. So once again, guys, we have been your shoutcasters for this best of 5 series. I'm Neep, and with me has been Ferzerk. And don't go anywhere, guys, as we do have another best of 5 series in store for you. It will be the match between the FIT ITAM Rouse versus PNU Sulo. Who's gonna come out victorious on top? Stay tuned to find out.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I.